He's out of sight, all the dolphins, you know it's true. Rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty. Ruling the waves, dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, that counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. As much as I could. They locked me up. They published it, paid me.
Dolphin, Illuminati. Deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. In the rivers and the seas they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. Illuminati in the rivers and the seas, they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin, Illuminati. It's that dolphin, Illuminati.
A surreal ball, Rothschild mansion, creepy halls behind every door, a cloaked body. Don't you know this is Illuminati? That we put the naughty in Illuminati. We expose the hot bodies of Illuminati. That we put the naughty in Illuminati. Mind control of your soul, of that body.
Are you ready to reveal all there is to see? Esoteric secrets revealed in all of their glory. The Illuminati series from Paranoid American. Putting the naughty in Illuminati. More details at paranoidamerican.com.
You ever wonder if maybe Kennedy wasn't shot at all? Some theories claim that Kennedy had unprecedented access to the FBI, CIA, and Vatican archives, all thanks to him being the first Catholic president of the United States and all. During a moment of deep contemplation on a Friday afternoon in Dallas, Texas, Kennedy reached total enlightenment, causing his pineal gland to explode. But if you ask this skeptic, it wasn't enlightenment that this president was trying to achieve.
Energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I whip that thing down like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 the honey. Oh yeah, Layla, she hates the honeys. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she hates the honeys. Oh yeah. She hates the honeys.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Used to think we knew was constantly exploring our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, bigger mistakes, entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mischief making, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up yourself. Happy Friday, good guys.
Happy Friday.
Brap, brap. How are you guys?
Good.
happened?
Better.
Grateful to be talking.
Fantastic.
Fantastico. Gordy, how was your trip to Mars?
Oh,
Do you want to share? You don't have to share anything about it, but we missed you.
I miss you guys too.
Definitely missed
Very
you.
much.
Glad to have you back, man.
Welcome back to the highest possible timeline. We hope you don't have any followers. We hope you weren't being tailed to the highest possible timeline. So how are you ladies doing this week? Anything fun and exciting go down?
I've been
Not really.
crying a lot. Shit. It's been I'm not a crybaby, but I've been crying a lot. So
You cried this week?
I did. It's been an emotional. It's a purging week.
Why?
Yeah.
If you want to talk about it.
Just
Has
life.
anyone here ever scheduled a cry?
Yeah.
I have.
I wish that I could.
Too. Like,
I'd like to get a hotel
I'm gonna
room.
go do it.
Yeah, I'd like to get a hotel room where I could be alone because I can't cry in front of people. So I feel like I almost have to schedule it.
If you
So
have
it's
to
like-
schedule a walk to do it, you schedule that walk to do it.
That
get
sounded
the
like
fuck
Forrest
away
Gump.
It did. That was very Forrest
If you have to schedule a walk to do it, Janae.
Janae,
Janae.
if you have to make a list for yourself, you gotta
I-
do
It's a
this,
legit
and then you
service
gotta
though,
do
where
that
like
thing.
you basically go somewhere that's designed to make you cry without being traumatic about it. You know what I mean? Just like have like a bunch of
Old
really sad
Yeller
movies and
playing.
yeah, just like a place to facilitate
Rudy.
just grind it all out.
Well, I have a like crying playlist.
I felt that you guys just all too much into me just saying Old Yeller and Rudy.
I have to be by myself,
Mhm.
like literally.
Me too.
I can't have either everyone's asleep or I'm in my room by myself. It has to be by myself because it's like a spiritual thing when I cry. It's not to like use my tears as ammunition or anything. I don't like to do that. Some people do. I'm not saying, but that's what I like to do.
Tell 'em, I'm just saying.
The
Yeah.
song "You and Me" by Soja is a good crying song because it's got like the sad violins, but it's like reggae and flowing and sad.
Mm.
That's
I
my
don't
cry
think you should
song.
have to hide from anyone when you cry.
Oh, I don't think so either. It's just easier. It's just easier
Mhm.
to be alone to do it, I think.
Because then you're like paying also like keeping in mind the other person's emotions around you, and it's like you don't want them to feel that.
And I don't want
So
anyone
it's
to
like
ask
you're
me what's wrong. I just want to process my
Yeah.
emotions.
I feel
Mhm.
like a genuine cry, though, you really can't help it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Oh, it
It's just coming
happens.
out. Like
It
if you don't
happens.
do it, if you don't do it when you need to do it, then it just comes out whenever
Yeah.
it wants to come out, and that's what's been
Yeah.
happening to me.
And
Yeah.
then you hold back at the same time. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay, and like the tears come out, but like, okay, stop. Not like letting it completely out.
Yeah.
Have you ever cried out of like sadness and gratitude,
Yeah.
like at the
Yeah.
same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been so sad somebody died and then had real presence
Mhm.
of mind and grateful it wasn't you?
Or even like
Not
grateful
if
that
it
it's
was in
over,
me.
kind of.
Yeah, or like grateful that like, wow, this person doesn't have to suffer on this realm. And wherever they are, they're at peace.
A friend of mine's sister passed away, and her journey was really close to mine date wise, and seeing her pictures and seeing myself, and it's like I was heartbroken for her as a sister, and then I was heartbroken for her sister, and then I had this weep of gratitude this week. Like the most amount of like cry where I was like, holy shit. Like I felt like I got to look into the timeline I died. Like it was so
Wow.
close.
Yeah.
And it was like a real reminder of like, holy shit, have I like 300 days later?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of wild. But
So
yeah,
you were
I
crying this week
cried.
too.
I knew Moon cried this week.
Isn't it odd that a lot of people are going through like some sort of like death more than usual? Are you guys seeing it or is it just me? Because I'm seeing it.
No, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
The
A
family
lot of
members.
people,
This person
cancers,
died, that-
blood
yep.
clots,
Blood
death,
clots.
mysterious, this, that, all kinds of weird things happening to people.
Do
I'm
you think
just
it's
like,
climate change?
I think it's the jibbity jabbity juice.
We're not allowed.
Hocus
This is our
pocus.
first day back. This is our first day back.
Wait, aren't we on the Good Guys channel? We're not on Project Chaney.
We're on both.
We're
on both?
We're on
Yeah,
both
we're-
tonight.
We
Oh,
were.
hey.
Not even
No,
About
we
to
were.
do it
guys.
about 30 seconds
We
ago,
were.
something happened.
Go like both of the videos or like both channels, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Run
on
to-
both
run to
channels, so you have to make sure you like and subscribe at Secret Society of Good Guys and at Project Chaney. We're also on Rumble now, I'm pretty positive. So that is where I just feel like if everyone will eventually go there, then we can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
But
Like-
it's everyone going there. So
Like
there is that
Raw.
as well. And then
And if
I
you
don't
ma-
know if anyone's there, but we're on X. So
Oh, okay.
just in
if
case the
anybody
solar
missed it,
flare happens.
We did do episodes the last 2 weeks. We just were banned on Project Chaney for a little bit. So you need to go like and subscribe on the Secret Society of Good Guys YouTube channel as well.
If you're asking where you prefer to watch, probably Rumble. I would say the more people we get watching on Rumble, the quicker we can not even care about what we say.
Yeah. I would love
Agree.
to do that.
Yeah, oh my
Agree.
god.
Oh,
It'll be
yeah.
a real
That'd
party.
be fun.
Like
Especially
not
with election season coming up. Like, don't you want to just let loose and just say we care
Yeah.
about every single candidate?
Mm.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Not every single candidate when it comes to all this medical tyranny, but I won't say anything more about that. But also even Kendrick Lamar and Drake battles, I want to be able to say pedo as many times as I want and put up
play
videos
clips. We
and
could actually
play
play the clips from it and everything.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
play like, look at what he said in the song. This is what he's referring to about Millie Bobby Brown grooming. Like, I would love that kind of stuff too, where we could
Yeah.
actually tear this Hollywood apart mostly.
Yeah.
Oh God, I got into it with high school kids about that the other day. They're asking me about the Drake and whatever thing, and then I was like, pedos. Like he totally groomed Millie Bobby, and yeah, I couldn't help it.
They're all pedos in that industry, I think. They have to. Like, they
Yeah.
either drug them to do something that crazy and
It's part of
catch it on video, and then
Yeah.
they probably condition them to, like, really like it in their weird fucking world. Like, they like shit, they like piss, they like little kids, they like the weird, they probably like bestiality, they probably like fucking corpses. It's just, I don't want to be a part
And
of
at
that
that
world.
mark, I think this is a good time to make sure you like and subscribe everywhere. And even if you don't, because I do think there might be more chat rooms that are more fun to hang out in. Like, I think the Project Chaney chat when it gets going is probably the most fun. But just make sure you like and subscribe everywhere else. Because if you missed the last 2 weeks, you missed 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go to the Secret Society of Good Guys channel, you'll be able to find those
Yeah,
combos.
they're fun.
Yeah, and maybe there's booty, maybe there's nipples, but you'll have to watch to find out. I know our audience. I didn't notice. I didn't like. Maybe we answered esoteric secrets.
Never know.
Maybe we told you who's really running the realm.
Maybe we talked about queefing.
Who runs the realm? Maybe that's why the solar flare.
My goodness.
So, have you guys seen all of this today? That there has been a big biostorm on the sun or something, and it's supposed to be like the biggest storm the sun's ever seen in like 160 years, and it's supposed to send all this chaos down, and they like kept moving up the level almost like a terrorist threat, where it's like, oh my gosh, we thought it was this big, now we think it's severe, now we think it's a gigantor, and then like where it was space balls, and then the northern lights everywhere happening, but they're saying communication could go down. So I was like, are we even going to be able to get online tonight?
Well, it'd be kind of cool if we're
I have no
interrupted
idea.
at some point because of it.
I have my theories on
People
it.
in California that are completely without internet. I don't know if it was related to all this or not, though.
I just feel like it's the chemtrails and whatever they're doing up in the sky with all that, like.
Because even as I was taking these pictures of the northern lights, you could see the chemtrails. I could see like triangles in the sky. I was like, these motherfuckers.
I'm telling you, they're prepping us for something. I don't know what.
And I don't know nothing about nothing, but doesn't Oklahoma seem far south to see northern lights,
It's
or is it
really
normal
far
for
south.
you guys to see it?
It's not
No.
normal.
It's not normal.
That's way not normal, man. When I was a kid, the only time I've ever seen them was in Billings, Montana, during a certain time in the winter. Like you would see you would just barely see a green glow that's kind of like the color of what's behind Thomas right now. That, see right there, that guy,
The green.
that green right there. You could kind of see that. You can kind of see that as that color as a glow.
This green right here.
Yeah. Right on.
See, everyone
But
just.
it was never like that.
That
It
green.
was never. You could never see it in Kansas. When I lived in Kansas, you could never see it. You couldn't see it even in Wyoming.
Yeah, we went. My daughter, I thought it wasn't going to be
Never.
till like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, and my daughter was like, "No, people are like taking pictures now." So we went out on my front porch, and you can kind of see the pink in the sky. So I was like, "Let's go drive." So we just
out.
drove over to like a place where there's no good visibility, and then took a bunch of pictures. It shows up way better in pictures. Like you can see the stars and everything is beautiful.
Interesting. What the fuck is going on? What if it's not chemtrails? Like, what the fuck is really going on?
There was
Is it really
chemtrails
the
in
sun? Or is it something to do with the black sun, the center of the
Well, it
earth, and
is
something happening?
interesting because I feel like when I was young, what Gordy was saying, the Northern Lights used to be green.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Well,
I
you
feel
can
like
see the
everywhere I
green in
see
it, but
them, they're like purple.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
very
what if
pink
it's the
and
center of
purple.
the earth? Like, where Mount Meru or whatever is in the middle, North Pole.
The Northern Lights. Huh. And it's after a new moon. And I think it's crazy how many stars you can see in the sky during it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
shit.
pretty.
Oh my.
What was that?
The way you laughed
out,
like
man.
that, it was like a vampire was slowly taking
Oh, it was
over. But it was just Gordy excited he
That
blew
was-
a big bubble.
It was a bubble. I can't see
Everybody
on this
tag
phone.
that.
But
Tag
that's
that
why I
in the
have you
chat.
guys up here. And by the way, guys, in the chat, I can't type because my laptop and I'm using my phone and I'm watching us on here and like reading your comments on the screen, so I can't reply. But I see you. Just saying, okay? Okay,
Do you
cool.
feel seen? Do you feel heard?
Yeah, I need to let that know because I mean I'm always in the chat, with the peeps. I see you guys.
I see you.
I see you.
Just occasionally do that to them though.
Yeah.
So they know. So they know you're watching.
That's right.
Yeah. So there was the rap beef this week.
The what?
The rap battle, the rap beef has been the big thing, but also
Oh, yeah.
the roast of Tom Brady
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
was
yes.
a big thing that they really tried to push into the Netflix zeitgeist to be like a water cooler thing. Because Netflix is working into live TV. We're going to have the live boxing fight.
And live Cat Williams, too.
Oh, was his live?
If it hasn't already happened, yeah, it will be live like soon. So
Oh, I did watch his comedy hour,
Interesting.
but I didn't know it was live at all.
yeah,
Like, but maybe he's doing another one. Like, what's that other guy's name? Dave Chappelle clone. Where he did like a bunch of, whatever they're called, Netflix documentaries all at one time. But everybody was talking about the Tom Brady beef and Tony Hinchcliffe Slade. And Tony Hinchcliffe is like Joe Rogan's boy. It made me watch Joe Rogan this week, and Joe Rogan had the CIA on again. And so the guy as you do, the guy he had on is his number one guest behind comedians. Like if they're not a comedian, this guy, Mike, whatever. I won't say your name, Mike. I don't want to out you. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just am like, gosh, who could think Joe Rogan's not the shilliest of shills?
Shilliest of shills.
One of the
this.
stories that he always used to tell the most was about how after he moved away for the first time and he went and got like some house in the middle of some suburban area, but he had the whole road torn up so that he could put like a backbone, basically like a T1 line or something, directly to his house. And he says it was because he wanted to have the quickest ping time playing like Quake Tournament or something. But it would make so much more sense if there was just an intelligence agent that was like, I just need really fast internet to stay on top of stuff.
News radio. I just think Joe Rogan has all the signs. How many coincidences do you need? Working for Disney, Phil Hartman dies around you, MTV connections, podcast, anything that's number one, anyone that they may go to battle with Neil Young to be the new Southern man. He's in like a think tank with Elon Musk. He is equivalent to Alex Jones, just a finer cheesecloth of the 3D. Yeah.
Well, I've got Disney and MTV connections and military, so I guess
I know that's why I keep you close.
You shill. He's a Fed.
I keep you close.
I'm just saying, if anyone wants to prove that I'm not a Fed and you want to give me LSD just to prove it, like I'll prove it.
Dude, my mom said our next door neighbor is a Fed. He lives right downstairs, like right under us. She's like, yeah, he said he works for the FBI. I'm like, oh, interesting. I have a couple questions for him. Yeah, interesting. Feds everywhere.
I'm a handler. I'm your guys' handler.
I knew it.
But I don't work for the CIA or the FBI. Just a handler.
Just the
Chaney's always creeping.
It's
I
more of
remember
a
at the
herder.
live show, she sent us a picture afterwards that was like, I'm parked in the back of the parking lot. I could have taken all of you out. No one saw me coming.
Yeah, I saw that.
I sent it to the ladies and I said, I videotaped it and I said, I could put, if I had a silencer on a gun right now, I could take out a whole podcast movement. All in one thing. They would have never saw it. They would have never saw it coming and we would have drove away.
So, dude, society's anyone that has a silencer that just could roll up into a certain area, like that's always been this ultimate taboo of how fragile. So that's why, you know, the ultimate thing that Alex Jones even, you know, got kicked off of everywhere for even talking about. But that's the thing that you could possibly do to constantly break people's entire belief system in the government.
Yeah, literally.
Like imagine if there was like a few of those literally every day. People would just stop caring about the government unless they got something done. But then in order for them to clamp down, it would require such an overuse of their force that it would be a no-win situation once things start to devolve that direction.
I wonder if it ever really has. I just am so, how much of history is fake? So is everything just a fear tactic of what if this happened? Like, ooh, what if your neighbor just went ham? What if these people just went postal? What if this job, it's like every little thing of a what if is just some way that they make all of us have to sit through a 45-minute class every 3 months to be like, saying tits to a coworker's wrong.
Sensitivity training.
Yeah.
You
Sexual
have anger
harassment
issues.
training.
You sound like you have anger issues, Chaney.
I
Why
know.
possibly would you have these kinds of opinions if you didn't already have like a history of having anger issues?
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. I don't know what's crazier, that the government can tell me who has a gun or the government can tell me who's crazy.
Fuck.
I don't know what's crazier.
Yeah. The people who are telling people they are crazy are the ones who are fucking crazy.
We give them all power. It's our fault. We do it.
I know. We always get the we, and I always think more along the lines of this. I litter, they pollute. There's quite a difference, but we, this collective quote unquote, always have to take responsibility. Look at us sinners, litter bugs. But really, I'm not the one, like, I'm not big anything. I'm not big watermelon polluting the whatever, or big canopy makers. I don't know, whatever the big in front of the thing that takes out everything else. This is a big podcast.
We don't. I mean, we're not. I mean,
Thomas is
everything
big
that
podcast.
Oh,
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Thomas is a big podcast. Yeah, what
How'd
are you
you-
saying, Layla? Sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
We're all too stoned late this evening.
Dude, I came
Already?
late on this show, and here I lit up another one. Back
Me
to
too.
back,
I waited
baby.
to smoke. I waited to hear.
I
the
couldn't
smoke.
wait. I had my meal, and then I was like, "Ooh, a nice fucking joint right now. Sounds good."
Gordy, you better get that fucking yawn right out of this
Yeah.
car.
No, I got coffee going.
You know what you
if
need to
that
get?
happened, if we were on a road trip right now and Gordy did that
I'm not going
yawn,
out.
I would open the door and kick him right out and shut the door.
You
I'd be
need
like, I hope that
espresso.
wakes you up.
You need chocolate covered espresso beans laying around, and just like snack on those instead of drinking coffee. You could eat those babies and get the same amount of caffeine. And yeah,
Do you think we could lull Gordy to sleep if we all just started talking? like,
probably
really
if we're just like
slow?
very monotone
Yeah, don't do
and
it.
very
Stop it.
It's already working.
Sorry.
You should put a light in your face.
No, I'm doing okay. No, I've been napping quite a bit. I
Good.
am raring. I probably won't sleep for days. No,
Very nice.
just kidding.
So the Met Gala this weekend, right?
Oh, there
Yes.
was the meat parade.
Fill me in on the whole.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need to be filled in on all of
Hunger
these. The rap
Games.
battle, the roast, and the Met Gala. All I know is that
What-
there was some AI picture of Katy Perry at the Met Gala that a bunch of official outlets went with, and they had
Yeah,
to
that too. Yeah.
I did not see Katy Perry at the Met Gala. I watched the entire thing
She wasn't.
live.
She wasn't.
Yeah.
Someone made AI generations that looked realistic, and they weren't like crazy over the top. It was a very believable image of her at the Met Gala, and I guess it got like republished by major outlets. Like, oh, look at
Yeah.
how what she wore, and then I guess it was like, no, she actually wasn't there, which I think
See, this is how they.
like how many of
17
those
million
have we seen?
views.
People don't.
17 million views
Like,
it captured, like within the first hour.
The Met
That whole
Gala?
post. Yeah, the
Oh.
post of Katy Perry. When it first went viral, like within the first hour, it had 17 million views. It just went fucking like
Jared
blew
Leto
up.
wasn't there. An
Mm-mm.
interesting thing that I found is so the Met Gala is a thing that The Devil Wears Prada, Diane von Furstenberg.
Great movie,
Yeah.
by the way.
It is such a good movie. I will
is.
watch The Devil Wears Prada till the end every time I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah,
And
if it
then
just like randomly comes on, yeah.
I'll just watch it to the end. And then I also have to say this begrudgingly. Anne Heche, she'd get it from me. Anne Heche seems like that bitch, and I like her attitude. Like it
Anne
doesn't
Hathaway
matter.
or Anne
Or
Heche?
what's her Anne Hathaway?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anne Heche, I think
Anne
I
Heche.
think you missed
Rest
the
in
bus.
peace, Anne Heche.
Yeah. Rest in
She would
peace.
not get it from me. Anne Heche would not get it from me. But Anne Hathaway, she's that bitch. Anne Hathaway kind of like she just seems like such a tight ass and such a goody goody. Like everything about her, but naughty.
Mhm.
Like I like Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
I-
But
I
I
like
think she's
Princess
like one of the high.
Diaries, so I do like her too.
I think she's like one of the high witches now.
oh, I'm sure every single person in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I think she even plays a witch in something of recent, maybe a few things. But
I believe this more and more. Like I started watching the Kevin Spacey documentary series, and I know that it's not made by the most reputable. It's the same, it's BBC that makes the same kind of hit pieces on all the things that we love. But the thing that they've been doing about the Kevin Spacey makes me think that there's actually like real life neo-Nazi, like black magic, like Satanism involved in all of this stuff, because they were great. Like, I mean, I remember when it first broke and I saw some of it and I was like, I don't know how much of this to believe. I need to wait for it all to settle. But I guess Kevin Spacey's brother comes out, and like he's a wild
He has a
individual on
brother?
his own right. He's got a brother that looks like Rod Stewart, kind of. It's weird. He wears like really flamboyant outfits. And he was talking about how when they were raised, there was just swastikas and Nazi flags all over the inside of the house, and that his dad was like a staunch, like pro-Hitler, had pictures of Hitler. And this is the environment that Kevin Spacey and his brother are both growing up in. And it was just like, it just reeked of Project Monarch programming. And I know how crazy that sounds, but it really sounds like the same kind of pathway that you'd read out of a Fritz Springmeier book. And this is the Kevin Spacey that we're talking about. And there was a guy in there that said that Kevin Spacey was basically trying to like groom him. Kevin Spacey went after Marines. He would go after straight Marines that were in relationships. And he was like almost looked at it as like a conquest. Like, oh, if I can turn a straight Marine gay, it's like a big deal. And he knows that he's inviting these guys that want to advance their careers. He meets one guy and they go to see Saving Private Ryan. And the guy says that right in the middle of like the bloodiest battle of Normandy, where like a guy's got his arms blown off and there's like little giblets of like muscle and flesh dripping down. It's like the goriest part of the whole movie. and he looks over and Kevin Spacey's like pulling a Pee Wee Herman right there next to him and trying to get him involved. And the guy's just like, out of all the scenes in the entire movie, this is what, and it's just like, yeah, if you were raised by like neo-Nazis and like in this weird abusive household, like what kind of weird stuff was going on that's your trigger. Like you see people getting blown up and like dismembered and you're like, oh, that's my cue, let's get to work. You know what I mean? That's such a weird, and it's beyond just like, oh, that's quirky, you know. It's not casting couch stuff, it's like Project Monarch stuff.
Yeah. It's like it almost imprints your like being.
I think Kevin Spacey is he has as much information as Ghislaine. And so he's the one that I believe will get a lesser sentence to turn heel. He's the like Kevin Spacey of it all. What the fuck is Space Force? What is it?
I don't know.
I just think it's an internet thing.
What's what?
Space Force.
I know some people in Space Force.
So what is it?
It's really boring. It's basically it's its own military branch, but it's kind of like Air Force asterisk, and the asterisk is like you're definitely just going to work a desk job all the time.
Flying drones.
And or not, I don't even think that. I think the Air Force still does most of that. Space Force, it got started by Trump, but as soon as Biden came into power, it's kind of was like left on its own thing. And every single person I know in Space Force, anecdotal, but they're all like scrambling to get back into the original service that they started in. Because that's what, when it got announced, you had to put your name into like a bucket, and you like a lot of people were hoping they could get into this new wing because they thought it would all be new fancy stuff and different paychecks and a quicker escalation through the ranks. And really what happened is they all just kind of ended up being like the guy that works in the closet amongst like your old job. They're just like, oh, go work in this little annex now.
I think that Space Force, and it's interesting to me that X has spaces on their media platform, their everything app, that if I were going to create a branch of the military, it would be a digital branch. There needs to be military online. We're always told about hackers, and we're always told about, I don't even care about hackers, that we haven't even heard about one hacker since Guccifer 2.0. But there is perverts out there. Why isn't there like 100 Chris Hansons? You know what I mean? Like, how is it that your kids can't just go anywhere because any weirdo that tried to mess with a kid, there's a Chris Hansen somewhere? Like how they have people sitting in airplanes and you don't know who the air marshal is.
Yeah,
it could be anyone. That's where I feel like if your kids are in places, I don't need the military to go and guard every country. If there has to be this thing that is service so you can get a free education, because I don't really understand what else, unless you're like really into killing, because there is the idea, I want to serve my country. Well, obviously you can serve it in other ways. No one wants to send their kid to war. No one agrees. What, are you going to go to Ukraine? You going to go to Israel and spread democracy? Like, it's such a silly idea. So it's just like, what is Space Force? And so I just think the Kevin Spacey of it all, the Ghislaine Maxwell of it all, the internet Bitcoin of it all, the dark web of it all, it could be something so much different than we think. Especially if space isn't real. Like, what are you guarding me from? A comet? So Aerosmith can play a concert on it? Like, what is Space Force guarding me from? An alien race? An alien race that can get here through light years, but we're going to make a military branch strong enough?
You know, like Jim Carrey, he becomes the character, right? And he gets paid to become the character. So it's like the same kind of idea.
Hold on 1 second. Gordy, you can sing, but you sing the song. This is what it is like. And Layla's talking.
I was trying to
like, what is
Layla was talking.
Layla says her thing and then be like, don't wanna close my
eyes. I used that song tonight. I had to.
Yeah, you can still give her background music. I'm into the background music.
The whole asteroid thing. Have you guys ever seen a shooting star where it like burns through the sky and it turns off, like it like burns out or whatever, and then it goes a little while and then it starts burning again?
Yeah, I have.
I've never
I've
seen
seen
it do
it
that
over the
before.
ocean. I've seen it in the ocean.
Like I've seen
Over
some
the
really
ocean.
awesome meteor showers, but I've never seen it where it burns,
What
And it
goes
was
out,
big.
and then burns
color
again.
was it?
It's
Green.
orange.
Orange. Yeah.
Mine was green.
Dude, all the cons I've seen that.
What?
I
dude?
think Gordy, you might have yanked your cord out
I
of your
know.
microphone or something.
Am I here?
Are you there?
No.
Uh,
Yes.
You might need to adjust your cord again or something. I think you loosened something, or
Okay.
you got too excited. You got too animated, and the writers, the animators couldn't keep up. So the cord's still on the last scene.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
No. What the hell?
Mm?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Good guys. Gordy's guess who's back? Back again.
Gordy's back. It's very like I don't know how to do it. Like crackly. Like
We always
so-
gotta have a crackly mic.
It'd be I think it's a reception.
We're back, baby. We
Yeah.
are back.
Go for the car. I gotta
Fucking hell.
You might need to start over. Whatever's happening though right now,
yeah.
I have to go shave my arms if it keeps happening because my hair is standing up on them. Yeah.
I'm not crackly tonight, right?
No, you sound
No, you
crystal
sound good.
clear.
Okay, good.
Do a mic check though, so I can make sure.
I don't think I could do it right now. I'm too stoned right now. I don't have the fakeness there to like fake one.
What's the
You
fake mic
always-
check?
Like a really corny mic check, a lousy mic check.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be any kind of mic check.
I can't do it.
It's too
I
much
can't do it.
pressure now.
Yeah, it's too
See,
much.
this is what I
Yeah,
realized
can't
about
do
the
it.
mic check. If you
I
don't
get it.
ride the mic check out right away, the longer the mic check sits, it becomes impossible. Like
It
you gotta
does.
go right away. So I'll fill you guys in since we're like it should be known. If you put PP in your eyes, right out of the good guys. It
Yeah.
rhymes. Right out of the good
No
guys.
bueno, man.
Put
Come
PP in your
on.
eyes, you're out of
Fan
the good
of
guys.
Shibambu. Yes.
PP
that's
is
not-
like
okay.
probably like the last resort
Wait,
for
in
things.
your eyes for what?
To antibacterial or something. Or anti-parasitic.
There
Like
was a
like
thing.
as a preventative thing or as
To
a
kill?
remedy for a certain problem? Like are people just doing it just to like maintain their eyes?
Well, I heard that people who do urine therapy like put it in their
Now
eyes
you're
because
popping, I think, Layla, but I don't.
no,
Is it just me?
I hope not.
Little,
Okay, go
maybe
on.
a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh
It's okay.
man,
It's okay.
Not Gordy
oh,
level.
Scheisse.
Not
Scheisse.
at Gordy level.
What the fuck? Okay, good, better.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Oh, I think it was too high. The thing, but
Thomas
I'm
is
too high, and so is this.
was my favorite shit. If you guys timestamp whatever that is, because when you went to speak again and it popped, Thomas went. "Eek."
Because I know Chaney is like
My
feeling it.
bad. I don't know
It's gonna
what to do, bro. Like,
And you know
the
what?
fuck?
Too, I have to tell you, I haven't uploaded in so long the audio version, which is why it's so crazy because but I'm sure like the TV people care, but maybe they don't care. They're just like,
I need to get a nice mic, like a better mic. That's the thing. That's what I need to do.
we'll be upgrading.
Yeah.
I might have nope, I don't have an extra mic.
What were we talking about?
Putting pee in your eyes.
Oh yeah. So the reason why they put pee
As you
in their eyes is
do.
because some people have worms in their eyes, and get cataracts or something like that. I forgot what the word is. But if you want to help improve your vision, you put piss in your eye, apparently.
I don't think
You're
pee would
selling the
kill a
idea
worm
here.
though.
Carrots.
This is the logic out there. I don't know. And the
The whole thing is
hadith,
that you have
it
to.
says you could.
Seems
Well, what I was
The
gonna
hadith.
say
Well,
real
Let's
quick.
it's-
get into
We'll go
this.
back to the pee thing,
The
but
had,
the mic check thing is what we always do. We have to mic check with an orgasm
yeah.
or some form of sexual something.
Mhm.
So anytime we've been telling each other to mic check randomly, it's to see if the other will randomly do a fake orgasm on air, no matter what's going on. And so sometimes it's so awkward. Like we have a
oh
guest.
yeah, deeper.
Yeah. Like we'll have a guest, or it's like Layla will be like, "Oh, someone from my work's watching tonight," and I'll be like, "Oh, that's fantastic. Why don't you give us a mic check?"
Oh goodness. Oh shit.
Yeah, Abby will be like, "I have to keep it down. I'm inside tonight." Now I'm like, "What? Why don't you give us a mic check?"
And she's better at the mic checks than
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She took it
My
to the
voice
next
cracks
level.
now, so it would have been better, you know, before my deeper
No, it
voice.
still sounds fantastic.
Before my deeper
Fantastic.
voice.
My dude voice. That was pretty dude-ish.
That was kind
No.
of deep.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't
I
deep.
because I no,
How
I heard
deep can you go?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Hey yo, what's up? How you doing?
I know.
That's terrible.
That's what mine is too. It's about, and it's like, hey yo.
Hey.
How
What?
you doing? Oh, dude, that's deep.
I don't even
See, I
feel
can
like I
sing
can
tenor
do it
now,
right if
though.
I'm
I
not
was always
standing up.
alto,
Oh,
and now I sing tenor. So
We can do like a Sons of the Pioneers or something. It'll be
I wish it was
Okay.
just a robot, like Jar Jar Binks, like an animated Jar Jar Binks when Gordy's talking. Gordy, I swear, I don't know what it is. It's not the reception because your picture's too crystal clear.
would it come better through your?
Yeah, your earphones. Maybe take the mic out of it and just plug your earphones into your phone.
Yeah,
well,
because that mic is like
That mic, throw it in the dumpster. That mic, light it on fire and throw it
it's
at
doing.
the coyotes that are
I
trying
think
to
I could
fuck with the
imitate
owls.
it.
Can you hear me?
It sounds like this.
This is now going to be an
Like that.
ASMR and glitchcore episode.
That's what it sounds like.
I can't hear me. Can you hear me at all? I didn't think so.
This is what it sounds like. Meh, meh, meh.
Can you eat?
I
Like
wish I had
that.
a little song. I wish I had a punk rock song that was like, Gordy's having mic problems.
Yeah, you should plug your
Chaney's gonna kill herself.
your earphones to your phone.
Abby's planning her next meal. Gordy, are you plugging in?
How's it sound?
Yeah, you should plug them into the.
Oh, there it is.
Much better. Whatever you just did.
Is this better?
Let's hear Gordy sing the Secrets.
Yeah.
Let's hear the Secret Society of Good
All right.
Guys live.
Am I doing it right now? I'm sorry. Am I?
Yeah, it's still whatever.
Amen.
It is. It is what it is. You
What
know,
the hell
we're
is
just glad to have you back.
happening, dude? It's like
Yeah,
it's like
it's not
someone is
blind.
intercepting the stream,
Yeah,
and like
it's like-
listening to it, and then deciding to play it like 3 or 4 seconds later.
Yeah, his like pictures coming in all the way clear.
Yeah.
It's too clear. That's why I know it's not any kind of reception or anything because his picture's crystal clear. And usually
Something
my
fishy going on.
computer will break the picture to save the audio. Like if it decides that it only has a certain amount of memory or whatever, it will give the audience the clear audio and avoid the clear picture.
Can you understand me? Though? Like,
Uh,
leave, and I'll come back, and
It's
maybe I'll
like I said, it's like
connect
when
it.
I
you're
would leave and
speaking,
restart and like.
when you're speaking, it goes, okay, it's gone.
All right, now let's talk shit about no. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but Gordy is looking handsome. That's what happens. I find sometimes is like, oh, now he doesn't have to worry about his sound. He's just gonna come and look handsome on the screen.
Well, I'm watching us on the big screen, and we look pretty good. The picture's great. Like, we look great.
We're killing it.
Yay, we're
Yeah.
killing it.
I'm like, damn, we look nice. Okay.
Do you
Whatever
guys
you're doing
wanna-
different tonight, Thomas, too. You look more lit up. You look more
Front
clear.
light.
It's nice to see your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
said
adding more lights to the section. Although I was thinking we need like another like costume night because when
We do.
when Chaney has all the
Yeah.
intros of all the different shows, like it's just nice having a little extra variety in there. I don't know, maybe
Next
like an
week.
80s rock star night or something.
Yeah, we can do
80s?
next week. We can
80s,
do
you said?
next week a thing and a theme. We'll put some gumption back into it. We've all been a little lazy,
Yeah.
but we've had
we've
other
been-
stuff going on.
Can we do like
Oh,
a
shit.
pro LGBTQIA plus episode?
Oh my gosh, we're extra gay.
I
Can we
mean,
call
Oh.
it gay if we're rainbow?
Can I,
Like,
I
can
mean-
we call it the letters if we're the letters, or will we get in trouble for that? Like, if we
I don't
dress
know.
like that.
I don't know.
we'll just call it Pride.
I mean, even like controversial shit is good shit, you know? I mean, who said we
Pride.
can't? It's a free
Oh,
country.
it's June. I will say about Chris D'Elia what I thought was good that I would steal from him is it's a free cunch. Like it's a shirt that he has and he spells it out where like all the letters are together. It's free cunch.
But with the word cunt in it, cunt.
Yeah, it's a free cunt. It's
There
a
was
free country.
there was a couple people that I knew in college that they were in a fraternity and they would get offended if you called it a frat. They would, and one of the phrases I remember them saying was, "You don't call it a frat. Like you wouldn't call your country a cunt, so don't call my fraternity a frat." And I always thought that was such an interesting. I was like, "That's kind of cool. I would like to call my country a cunt. That's not a big deal. It's kind of cool."
That's part of the problem, I think, is that
I
we
mean-
don't call our country a cunt enough.
That's what the whole world views this country as.
Why is
we don't
cunt
see
such
that.
a weird word in the United States? Like, I feel like it's used a lot in, like in
Cunt.
the UK, but like, did your
Yeah.
mom's generation act like cunt was like the worst fucking word in the whole world?
I didn't know what cunt was until I hit high school.
I
didn't know.
remember having a friend who go, "Don't ever use that word," and I've heard a lot of women like act so weird about the word cunt, and it's like it makes me want to use it more.
I probably heard it. I
people
just
tell
never
me they
realized.
don't like it. Anytime people tell me they don't like a word, though, it's just like whoop, moist, 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 moist.
Oh,
Like, I'm
Chaney, you're
like, I
making
never
my
even
panties
said.
wet. Damn.
Mic check.
I know. I was like, the whole stream just ends.
It's hot in here.
Look at Gordy has so much to say.
Sorry, Gordy. But you look strapping tonight.
Wouldn't it be awesome though, for real, if like Gordy was lit up and then he was pantomime and he did like pantomime of the whole show and what was ever going on?
Why don't
like
you
white
just
face?
do like the whole lady who pretended to like
Dude,
who pretended to do
I
like the
can't
sign language?
handle it. If he gets the owl mask out, it's over. For
Oh
me.
my god! I was just thinking that.
Yeah, and just randomly. Shit.
I can't. I gotta cover him up.
I want to. That owl mask needs to be its own shirt,
It really does.
and then it just needs to say Gordy was here.
Who?
Who?
Yeah, who? Who?
Uh,
Oh shit, that is its own fucking culture.
yeah.
We're creating our own culture. Cultures.
Culture. Cult shirt.
This is my
Did you
culture.
say culture or cult shirt?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Isn't everything
Okay.
like a cult?
So I think it's Diane von Furstenberg, and she is the head bitch at Vogue. And I think they're like, there's really like the Met Gala, and they're raising money and everything. So all the clothes become auctioned off and all this next level stuff, or they get shown in the museum. And all these only certain artists are allowed on the runway, and only certain people are invited. And if you get invited and say no, you never get invited again. And if you get invited and say yes, you have to go for 3 consecutive years. And they have a whole order that you go that, the same as every award show, where I think there must be some ritual in the last to arrive, whether it's the queen, the president, or. And so these celebrities, the Cardi B closed out the awards this year, but it started and it was all like a garden something theme, which right after the Super Bowl and the whole fertility rituals that we just went through with Easter, and then it's like this garden, and it looked so cheap. If you look how much money they usually spend on this look up the stairs for all the photographers to take pictures of these people, this was the cheap. It looked like spray paint. It looked like we could have done better. I don't know how much money they spent. I don't know if they were up against the wall. I don't know if the Palestinian protesters made it so that it couldn't happen, because that was also a thing going on. So it's like a huge fashion thing, but I think there's tons of magic and ritual in these dresses as well. And every year is a theme. So anytime you see like Elon Musk and he has a shirt or the jacket that says New World Order, or Jared Leto where he's carrying around the head that looks like him, it's at the Met Gala, and Demi Moore was there.
It was very Hunger Games.
Yeah, every year, every single year is dystopian and on a timeline that kind of grosses you out. Like no matter what way they take it, the more you know about ritual and esoteric and whatever they're up to, the further you look back at the Met Galas, they're all almost like a
Different
Rothschild
episodes.
party, like a Rothschild party without the masks, but sometimes masks are involved.
Yeah.
And they seem to come in pairs with certain things. And the Kardashians have been a big staple the last few years, but Cardi B definitely closed it out, and her train took over the whole entire forest. It looked like if the end of the runway was a green forest.
I wonder if this all connects to like stars and like the Book of Solomon, or the Gospel of Solomon, and how like a lot of these jinn are like tied to certain like celestial whatever, like the water bearer, or Aquarius, if you want to call it that. It talks about that, and like how certain signs, whatever are display, like you can fall in love with a jinn that is a woman that turns itself into a woman, and you fall in love with that person. It's just like weird things in this book. And I don't know if it's true or not, but like, what if there's some kind of connection to the stars, since we call them stars, and they choose like certain dates of when they're born, and like moon child kind of like theory? What if it's all connected with the stars and like fucking demons, and like literally bringing demons into like this realm and allowing them to have this free will existence? What if it's that, like a game? What if we are all jinn and we don't realize it?
That is a really interesting thing, that they do call them the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And for a reason, and they put them on the Walk of Fame, and we all look up to them as we would the old stars. We all know what they're doing every single second of the day, that we would the old stars. And so there is something that if they're making those celebrities all stars, and we don't know it because we don't have them all linked up, are certain celebrities planets, or certain celebrities together, like the Kardashians, are they Sagittarius? Like, do they all represent a different star system of a constellation?
I'd say they're more like a Cancer.
Dum, dum. You know, but like, or it's like certain friends that hang out all the time, or Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie when they got married and they have to like join. But if we looked up in the sky, look it, that's when Venus and Mars are close to each other. Like, so they were married for this period of time. And, you know, like, what if there is a connection? Like, Madonna
Yeah.
is Venus, and like,
Why? Like, why are we always drawn to them? We're always drawn to the sky. Like, we're looking up and they make a movie, Don't Look Up. Like, okay, Don't Look Up. But like, we are always drawn to them every fucking night. It's
well,
like a
that
habit.
makes
I
sense
look
to
up.
me.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the celebrities, just the idea, if each one of them could be attached somehow to a celestial deity for real, and they could play it out in this, whether it was a marriage, whether it was a birth, whether it was but they were playing out the story of the gods, essentially, that way back when they would have done with Shakespearean plays, and way back before that they would have done with writing books of deities, and way back when, but now they play it out like a Hollywood thing that we think the movies and all that, but that's not really it. It's the poop papers. It's the who's marrying who's having a kid, how are their kids going to have kids, almost like they're playing out the Titan and God lore all over again. But
Well,
they're
I think
doing
it's
it while we're
different
watching.
than I think it's different than the live versions that you'd see at like the Globe Theater, like the old Shakespearean plays. Because if you think about it, the concept of calling them stars is fairly new. It's a very Crowleyan sort of like early or late 19th century, early 20th century way of considering people stars. And what if it's not that the celebrities are like stars, it's that somebody named it star and celebrities started calling themselves stars. And usually the stars is where you would go and get your entertainment for the night. You'd go and look at the sky and you would make up the stories, and that's where you got your light from. And as you were kind of like imagining things, that was because you're not going to stare at the sun, right? So if at any point in your entire life you were going to stare at light and just imagine stuff, it was probably going to be in the dark, either through a candle or out in the stars. But now we've got these new stars, and now we're absorbing the light through like TV screens and phone screens, getting it from these new like artificial stars. But it's like
And
a
the
very
symbol.
literal way of like, now when we're in a creative mode and we're absorbing light and telling a story through light, it's coming from like a screen, right? It's coming, it's like right here, but it's coming from a screen. And rarely are people going outside and getting the same entertainment and light from the real stars. It's all artificial now.
Yeah, and they had us programmed with the symbol star and how they taught us how to draw the fucking star from an early age and what the shape
And just
is.
calling them, just dubbing Hollywood stars.
Star.
The map of I remember the map of the stars sounded like such a cool thing until you find out it's just like a stupid little tour bus, thing.
Yeah, like one street in front of the Masonic Temple.
Well,
and
celebrity,
Hollywood Boulevard.
celestial, celebrity, like that ain't so different. The ending is, but like celestial, celebrity.
Well,
pretty.
another way of would you follow the stars? Would that also be following generals?
Generals.
Yeah, like you were saying gens earlier, but if we're ranking in the military, the more stars you have, the more people that follow you, right?
And the greater the sacrifice, the brighter your star, or the more stars that you carry on you. If you're to die in battle, or in Hollywood, if you're to die at the peak of your career, that's like one of the greatest offerings that you could give the gods, essentially. Like these are for the star gods. That's a Michael Sarion thing, the military aspect, that if you were to take out a 4-star general, or if you put a 4-star general out on the battlefield somehow and they get taken, that's literally the greatest thing that the United States military could offer to some kind of celestial god, is like saying, like, look at how important this offering is to you. It's got 4 stars on the shoulder.
And that makes up like a constellation.
An admiral is like admire.
Yeah, and like each star that you add will equate to a constellation, because each constellation has a number of set stars to create that constellation. So it probably has to do with that as well.
And you were
like
talking
3
about
stars,
Solomon,
Orion's
too.
belt.
Like the 72 lesser keys of Solomon, I think, is one. There's a bunch of them with the sigils, but a lot of those sigils are designed by taking a magic square for each planet, and then writing out just certain phrases or certain different processions of the stars, and that's what all those little sigil squiggle lines are. It's usually something that's been mapped out on one of those magic squares. But if you were actually able to orchestrate military movement, you could actually make your own stars follow those exact same processions if you wanted to. So I mean, there's very real chance that you could be a 4-star general and being able to conduct like real sigil magic
on a chessboard, especially like a risk game, moving ships around and letting somebody take your 4-star general, but would that be equivalent to a rook, or would that be equivalent to a knight? And then you also have other pieces on the chessboard that would be like queens or kings. But I
Yeah, I
do
think a
think they're
4-star would be like a rook, probably a rook or a knight, or not a bishop. That, you know, bishop is obvious.
Yeah, it becomes like, isn't that funny too when you look at a game of chess that you have military, you have religion, you have royalty, and then you have pawns. It doesn't matter what one of these things you follow. You're just the pawn in the game.
Did you see how Brittany posted a chessboard the other day?
Yeah.
A cool
Do you guys
thing.
want to be pawns though?
Well,
I
here's a
don't
cool
want to
thing
be a
about
fucking
chess.
pawn.
Every single time the pawn touches the other side of the board, it gains power. But the coolest part of it is the pawn still looks like the pawn. So if the other player doesn't pay attention, like if everybody's not on, my pawn can take out your queen. Like the pawn being the queen is more powerful than the queen.
Yeah.
You just have to touch each side of the board enough without everybody paying attention.
Interesting.
And so sometimes you use a 4-star general or a queen, because that would be like you like the queen's gambit. You'd move the queen out to the middle of the board, and you don't care if they have to go on automatic defense or automatic offense. But if you're the best chess player in the world and I'm just meh, all of a sudden, if you had a whole plan on how I was going to play automatic defense or automatic offense, it makes you choose something, because now my queen in the middle of the board, who would do such a risky move like that? But you either have to defend against it all the way or try to take it down because it's too obstructive right there in the middle.
Yeah.
I've kind of always felt like on the game of chess that we're playing, Trump has been the queen's gambit. He just stands there, and as long as he's there, the world's focused on him. And so the real offense or defense that's happening isn't fucking Trump. He's the queen standing in the middle of the board. He's like, look over here. It doesn't matter what he's doing. One side takes the opposite side. One side takes the same side. It doesn't matter what he says. It's tink, 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 tink.
That symbolically happened though when he was walking side by side with her, and then he walks in front of her. That was like
That's right.
He did.
Yeah.
He was the postmaster general and stepped in front of the queen. That was him in a chess move taking. And before, if you watched him go around the board, he goes to Saudi Arabia. That's the first time he touches the other side of the board. And instead of being Obama and kissing the ring, he gets the sword. That was the first time he touched the other side of the board. And then he has to go to India, and everybody else, nothing happens. When Trump's there, a whole auditorium filled with people.
He should adopt Harry. That would be the biggest power move ever.
That would be next level.
Right?
But I
That
just
would
think
be
these
so
little
cool.
and in a weird way of like, if there were people trying to gather chess pieces throughout time, like if you were wanted to get the dog and the car and the top hat and the whatever the things are, it seems like all of the ancient chess players have always tried to gather the same pieces. Doesn't it seem like they might call them different things? Some might call it a spear of destiny. Some might call it an ark of a covenant. Some might call it a ruby of a sea or some shit in a crown. Yeah, or an emerald tablet or a thing. But it just seems like no matter what, there's these ancient chess players that are in desperate need to gather all these pieces. And we keep hearing about it over and over again. Like, did Gilgamesh have one of these chess pieces? I don't know. Did Saddam Hussein? Oh, what did America have in the Keystone? What did this? I don't know. It just seems like it does seem like a big game. like a cicada.
Well, I guess like the Nimrod or Osiris, right? Like the 13th piece. That's the ultimate chess piece, right? That's the king.
Isn't it weird too that the like what is a president of something? But it's like the people wouldn't stand for a queen. Well, will they take a queen if we let them think they pick it every 4 years? Yes, they will. Like it's kind of just an interesting like as far as the pieces go, what's a president on the chessboard?
I feel like the president is, I mean, just to take it back to like teenage level politics and just cursing at society, you know, damn it society, but like the president really is a popularity contest, but I almost feel like we're missing the inverse of it. Like they're just like IMDb has the top 100 and the bottom 100, and people are interested in that bottom 100. Like what are the worst movies ever? I want to see what you consider the worst. So I almost feel like in these presidential elections, anyone that puts themselves up for election has the potential to be voted like worst, and then we keep tabs on those people for 4 years, like all the people that didn't even come close, and then just like give them equal coverage almost as like an official scapegoat for the next 4 years. And I almost feel like that could change the dynamic a little bit of what people are willing to bring to the table on that initial push.
Isn't it even weird about politics that if you went to run for president right now, it really that people are like, oh, what kind of experience do they have? Like, I don't know them well enough to have them be the president. Everybody, like, how far would you let normies go up the ladder of your fake political ladder now?
Well, I think that's changing too, because pretty soon in the coming generations, you might only want to vote for the president that you've grown up with. Like you've seen him on, you know, all the social media, and they had a show, and you know, you followed them to college, and you followed them through their kind of like the AOC version of,
Or Trump.
you know, who 4chan?
Trump.
What?
Trumpy.
Yeah.
Trumpy or Reagan. Like this almost a celebrity that you get to watch from the time they're a young child, as long as their parent was in the news somewhere.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
easy
Ed
to-
TV or Truman. Like imagine a Truman show. Imagine if he broke out and he ran for president. Like everyone would freaking vote for Truman, right? Because you got to grow up and see like all these adventures and like breaking out of the matrix. And then if that ever were to happen, almost in like a Trump kind of way, it's like setting the new mold. And now that's the expectation is like, oh, I want to make sure that you didn't just come out of nowhere. What do you mean you came out of Yale and I've never heard of you before and you've got a 4-year military career just to meet? Like, no, I want to go back and read all your MySpace posts in the early 2000s. And I feel like that's the new expectation, or it will be soon. And that's different than we've ever had for a president.
Interesting.
Is there something that like Barron Trump is like going to be a Florida delegate at the Republican National Convention?
Yeah. He's going into politics.
Well, it did say the New York Post said that he was advising his dad on politics. Did you guys see
The
that?
last president. They're making it come true.
There's a lot of people in the world that think that Barron Trump in like on the spectrum type way, but like in a brilliant type way with technology, that some people theorize that he was always on the chance. Like from a young age. And he just had his birthday this week. And look at this Nafila.
You should see his like current picture. He looks so beautiful.
Let's see.
Oh my God. I was like, is that really fucking Barron Trump? I'm like, holy shit, he's beautiful.
Is he from Melania?
Yeah.
Is it this? Novella. No, I'll find the most recent one. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Recent.
Barron Trump.
I'm not in favor of Dynasties. I don't care what the flavor is.
I'm not in favor of Dynasties, and the name Baron is a little on the nose to me.
Yeah.
Red hat, red MAGA hat is so when he puts it on, will he be the Red Baron?
Oh, Jesus.
Hmm.
Is it this picture of him? I think it
I
is.
like how your mind works.
But the Red Baron was just Snoopy, anyways, right?
And
Or
it was
no, or
Snoopy's.
the Red Baron was Woodstock. Do I have that? Am I completely screwing? I know
I don't
Gordy would
know.
know the answer, but Gordy's out of commission.
I know he just has to go, or he already went out. And I'm gonna pull it up. The Red
Baron
Baron.
was the highest scoring fighter pilot of World War One.
Here, ding ding ding. I got that on another.
But it was
page.
either Snoopy or Woodstock, because they had this like ongoing theme where one of them was the Red Baron. I just can't remember which one.
Manfred Albrecht Freiherr von Richthofen. That guy, his name sounded like I just did a spell.
Manfred von Richthofen.
Or no wonder he went by the Red Baron. He was a fighter pilot with the
Richthofen.
German Air Force during
Richthofen.
World War One, and he was considered the ace of aces. 80 air combat victories.
They tried making a version of this called the Phantom of Ukraine or the Ghost of Ukraine. Do you remember that? And like no one actually knew if it was a real person. Some of the videos they released were from video games and stuff, but it was like pushed really, really hard in the beginning, I guess, weeks or months of the quote Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The Red Baron, and he had the red cross on his like a black cross on his red plane. I can't pull up all these pictures. I got lost in it. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, Baron Trump. I can't find the most recent ones. They keep pulling up the ones at the funeral.
Yeah. I saw
But
some.
I saw one too, and he looked really pretty.
Yeah.
It's on New York Post had one of him the other day.
Yeah, it was like a really good picture of him. I was
For
like,
his
wow.
B-Day. Baron.
Oh,
New York Post.
wow. Handsome.
Yep. 12 hours.
And keeping your kid off the internet is a really, like, he doesn't have a social media presence.
Smart kid. Literally smart kid. It probably didn't even interest him. Like the things that he was into when we were young versus him, probably two different worlds.
Do you think he's killed a man by now?
Do you think he's killed a puppy?
Nah.
All right,
I
here
don't
it
think-
is.
It's weird because it's a red tie, blue tie.
Gordy? Why is that microphone in his hand still? I thought he was just going to come in with ears.
Is it not working at all now?
Mm-mm. Are you muted?
Yeah, are you muted?
Okay.
He said toodaloo.
No, don't. You just have to plug in those ears into that thing. Throw
That's
that
what I
mic in
wanted
the
to do.
woods.
Yeah, like take it out and plug it into directly into the source.
I
Like,
found
put
exactly
it
the
in.
handsome picture that you've been talking about. Like, look at this hand. But he kind of, okay. I have so many things going on. So, all right. Gordy will still try that. What? Yay!
Yeah, there we
Okay.
go.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Million times better.
That's the picture.
Don't
yeah.
move.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yep. He does there. And that's,
Yeah, he looks beautiful.
What?
Yeah.
Red and blue.
He's like stepping into his man. Like his bone structure is starting to change and all of that. Like that all changes.
Trump Tower.
Is that
what
the
I
real
think of
Donald
when I
Trump
see
or
him there.
his?
Are we sure this isn't AI?
I don't know,
Aaron
man.
Trump's
I am,
You can't tell
I am having
anymore.
trouble figuring out if this whole thing is real. Like those two faces. Who the hell knows? Like what were we just talking about that
You guys, he looks a little to me like Sheena Shea from Vanderpump Rules, and I know you guys don't know who Sheena Shea is, but I just want to pull up a picture. That Sheena Shea from Vanderpump Rules. He kind of looks
She
like
looks like
her
a
to
robot.
me.
Whoo,
And
Baron?
what's a Vanderpump?
Yeah, like I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
he kind of looks like Sheena Shea. Good as gold. That was a free plug for Sheena Shea. People that know, I apologize.
Is Vanderpump someone's name?
Lisa
It's a show.
Vanderpump. It's a show. She's
Sounds like a shoe.
the best Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. She does have
So
a
it's a spin-off of a Real Housewife show.
yeah.
And she was such a real ass housewife that she got her own show.
Yeah, but she kind of wasn't a Real Housewife. I think she got a spinoff because she was probably the wealthiest of the Real Housewives, but she had restaurants everywhere. And she was the head person that went in against the Lychee Dog Festival or the Yulin Dog Festival in China. And so this is where I'm like, this bitch owns a lot of restaurants. These celebrities sure make a lot of noise about
Oh,
these
yeah.
dogs. And I started to put all these connections together of like, oh, these are probably nefarious people. Like they have like dog things. They're always saving dogs in
Gotta
other
save the
countries and
animals.
mailing
Yeah.
them here. I think it's some kind of weird thing. So Vanderpump Rules is a spinoff, and Tom Sandoval on that show, one of his side projects, he ends up having a band called McMansion, and in the band he does it with Isaac Cappy. And so it's like every single one of the things when I'm like, I don't want to watch anymore. The next season, I'm like, is Erica Jane's husband really the attorney for the Nexium cult? And it's like every single season, but you don't know the things unless you know the things. I swear to you, the first season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there's this girl that ends up getting beat by her husband. You know the cat where the one girl who's screaming at the cat, and the cat's just sitting there like this? That season 1 of Real Housewives or Beverly Hills, her and husband ends up dying nefariously. I think these ladies kill this man, and Big Little Lies becomes the show.
Ooh, shit.
Like, this is just a theory.
That makes sense.
Like the Hilton, Kathy Hilton, Kyle Richards, Kim Richards, Disney kids. Like, there's so much stuff on this show that I'm
there's
like,
a connection between Isaac Cappy and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
yes, this is where I don't think everyone needs to watch all trash TV. But if you are esoteric out there, if you have any connections to Hollywood out there, if you think you know, and you start Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 1, episode 1, you will be blown away by every single baby shower, every single one of these women give one of the other women a bunny, a big, huge stuffed bunny. And it's a scene. It's a scene when they do it. One time a woman was like, don't give my grandchild a bunny. Like it was because it's almost like your kid's going to be invited into the rituals too. Like there's nothing you can do to keep them safe, no matter who they are to you. Like that's
the white rabbit.
And so they give each other this stuffed rabbit all the time. There's always bunnies all the time in the background. Everything is I don't know. There's too much. It's just like watching any movie or it's like reading a Manly P. Hall book. You'll be like, these women, every single one of them has John Benet Ramsey floor.
That's fucking wild. I've never watched any of the Housewives. And for that to be like a constant, like a bunny.
Think of this too. Big Kathy Hilton comes in life and she has whatever kind of magic she does. She's just some lady. And whatever kind of magic she does, in 2 generations, her grandchild marries a fucking Rothschild. That is not.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Hilton sisters,
Yeah,
one
you
of the
think
not Paris, the other
everybody,
one.
it's always the one you don't pay attention to. The one out of the limelight is the one doing the thing. That's why Follow the Wives is such a big thing. Follow the Wives is a big thing, and they thought the sheep would follow the stars is a big thing. So did they think the sheep were going to follow the celebrities right inside their houses? Did they think the sheep were going to follow the celebrities and sit in line like Elvis again? Did they think the sheep were going to follow the celebrities and just be like, yay, we celebrate Diddy?
Yeah.
Like it's all the, or do they think the sheep are going to follow the generals and be like War 3, yippee skippy e? But neither is happening. That as much as everyone's like doomsday,
Yeah.
overall your granny is a little hip to it. No matter who you think in your realm, they know some part of the thing that you're like. I always go back to people. Do you think Kennedy was just killed by Lee Harvey Oswald? I always just go back to conspiracies that are pretty well known.
Yeah.
Most people don't think that. I'm like, aliens, Area 51, nothing.
What are usually their response? Are they still like in the conditioned
I
mind
don't
of
know
what?
anyone that thinks Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy. I
Yeah.
don't know anyone, left, right, center, indifferent. Do you guys?
I know a few. Yeah, I've interviewed a bunch of
Really?
people on the JFK assassination in particular, and yeah, and there's a couple people that I didn't expect that are just like he was a lone wolf, he did the thing, or that he might have had connections, but that he was the one that did it. There was, and I hate him for it. There was a episode of MythBusters where they recreate the magic bullet shot with ballistic gel, and they actually are able to make it do the little like curvy thing. And it felt like a complete psyop, because I think in the same
Yeah, it
series,
was.
the chick that everyone was like simping over, she gets one of those Verichip RFID things implanted in her hand and stuff, like totally normalizing all of it. But yeah, there's absolutely some people that I respect the opinion of on a lot of other topics, but I've heard them say the wildest things, like the official story from the Warren Commission report was really what happened. That doesn't make any sense to anyone that's looked even a little bit into the names involved.
Don't you feel like the Warren Commission is so similar to the 9/11 Commission? Like where it's
Yeah.
infuriating. So imagine
What
how
is
many
a
people were
commission?
like, but
What
just
is it?
imagine how many people were on the ground that day or close that day or had cameras that were snatched out of their hand or knocks on their door and their stuff was taken, because it wasn't phones everywhere. So imagine the people that probably like that were killed that we never heard of, or that were made to feel crazy.
Mm.
They didn't see what they saw.
The
And then
number of people, actually, the number of witnesses that died due to freak accidents around the JFK assassination is also why it was like being a microbiologist in the early 2000s. I don't know if you ever were into like conspiracy theories in those early 2000s, but that there was like a freak moment in time that being a microbiologist was the most dangerous job on the planet, not because you get sick from it, but because they were like driving off cliffs, they were drowned in, planes were falling out of the air. Like if you were a microbiologist in particular, and it was almost the same thing. If you witnessed JFK, it's almost like saying publicly, I've got an information that could lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, like that whole meme, and then all of a sudden you're dead, or like, oh, I'm gonna blow the whistle on Boeing real quick. Oh, and now you're dead. Like there's all these things that it's just too astronomically unlikely for this stuff to be occurring just in the regular natural order of things. Like these,
Like all the banker suicides in 2013 or whatever.
or the natural past that all died in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah.
Whose train is that?
Steve Jobs including that?
It's okay. As long as it's not a twister, Abby. Or a
Oh,
tornado.
that's Abby. Oh.
Yeah. We got the north-south, like east-west crossroads here, so this is the crossroads. So if you want to make a deal with the devil.
Huh.
All right. Speaking of. And he's got his cigar. Now the
devil.
casting couch can begin.
Cha-cha.
Let's see. Gordy, are you there?
Hello.
Yay!
All
Loud and
Now,
clear.
Go all the way back to Greece and sing that again. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, we might not have been on air yet during that. We might not have been on air during that time. Thank you guys for joining us, and
Yeah.
we will actually put some care into next week, and we will have costumes and a topic and maybe a guest, maybe. I have to, this is like so rando for me. I have a pedicure tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow and I have a pedicure. And then I'm going on a cruise.
Nice.
And I don't get back until Friday.
Nice.
It was a week-long cruise?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I don't
But
know
I
if
got people
trust
staying
cruises
at my
anymore.
house, everyone.
Cruises freak me out now. Because it's just like a little petri dish out in the middle of the ocean. And also, I always get screwed on, not the good kind of screwed on cruises, but they always end up like picking me for the random thing, you know, like the random searches that they do on people because my name's on like a list, I assume. But it always kind of sucks because I can't bring all the drugs I want to bring with me.
Oh, damn. Is there a list? That's fucking annoying.
I kind of just go in the line of the list. Like I kind of am there in the airport. I bring my luggage. I never check it. I just roll it around with me to the cruise until then everybody else is waiting for their luggage outside of their doors for hours. And I already have mine and I can set up my whole room and then go explore the ship because I have to set it up. I'm going to live there for a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have I never mind it. It's like enough family time anytime I want to hang out with them, enough time away, and the losing of all reception. They have internet packages, but they're whatever. They're not great. I like losing all connection to the world, like a forced loss of connection. Otherwise, it's an addiction that I'm like, I don't want to have to think about not picking up a cigarette. I just want the cigarettes not to work.
That only tells you that satellites are fake. That's what it tells me. If you're losing reception today in today's world with all the fucking hundreds of how many thousands of satellites are up in the fucking atmosphere?
Well, that's why I think they have to keep putting them up is because they can't track everyone or make robot dogs chase you into the wilderness if you can't get cell phone reception there.
I don't know about that.
But then I'm like, if you signed on to Starlink, would you get reception there?
Yeah, a lot of UAVs are can be satellite run.
Do you think that they're balloons?
They can use balloons, actually.
Do you think the space station is just a big balloon?
I don't know what it is.
I want to still believe in the space station.
Is there a space station?
The speed does not make sense to me on how fast it actually goes. It just does not compute in my head.
Okay, so if we have a firmament, the luminaries would be inside of it, like the sun and the moon.
Well, I think of it as like layers of firmament. So it's like each layer has its set of stars in each house that corresponds with that house or that major.
So I was driving yesterday, and you know how you see like on the road, and it looks like you can see the reflection, and it's like it could be a clear day here, like where you can actually just see the reflection of things on the road, like it looks like water, right? Oh,
a mirage.
Why is that doing that again?
This never happens for me. I saw someone
do both of them. Now we're gonna do you guys. If you have do them both, let's see if you have wherever it read the first time. Now put them both there. Yeah, that's my favorite one. Put it, yeah.
Mine never does it.
Mine
Are
either.
You on a Mac, Thomas?
I'm not on a Mac. Oh, is it a Mac thing?
Yeah, it's a Mac thing.
Oh, okay. That
But
explains so much now.
And then double thumbs down. Let's see.
It's raining. It's pouring.
It's an iPhone thing, right? Or is it? Is it MacBook?
Yeah, iPhone, but this is MacBook.
MacBook.
I had a MacBook. It didn't do that with me either. The book.
I think turn it on.
I think the heart's the cutest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I just learned that one.
Love you, chat.
That was just to my Cherie. Those hearts. Don't anybody else catch them. Those
right.
are only for my Cherie.
Love you, my Cherie.
Yes, thank you.
I know. I like how she's the most famous moderator on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has your channel even made it if my Cherie isn't moderating it?
For
How
real
can you
though.
possibly be taken seriously if my
So do you
Cherie
think the
isn't?
mirage is on the road? Sorry to take it back to this. The mirage is on the road, like when you're driving and stuff, where it
Yeah.
looks like a crystal clear reflection.
Yeah.
If
Do
you
you think
saw
that has to
Cherie
do
on
with
the road, would she be Mirage Cherie? Sorry. Go on.
Maybe.
Sorry. Go on. Back to the Mirage. I'm paying
If she's
attention.
not really there, I would say it is. So, do you think that has to do with firmament also? Or is it just like vapors in the air? But it's just weird because it's like an actual mirror is what it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like a mirror. Maybe, I don't know. I always wonder that. It's like a weird
A little bit of
experience
water
to,
that you're never gonna reach.
I don't know.
But I think that's the explanation that round earthers use, that the boat, when when it goes over the horizon and you can still
Mhm.
see it, they say you can still see it and that it disappears almost between the water and the boat again. It's that mirage effect. So you're not actually seeing the boat anymore. You're seeing the
mirror.
reflection of the boat now.
Mm.
And so I don't know, I'm just explaining that philosophy, but if you think of the water look on a road that you never reach, it's almost that same explanation.
Well, that's how rainbows are created, by a mirror on top. Like it needs like this thing on top for it to be like for
Moisture?
it to form. Yeah, it needs the moisture, the light source, and this thing, and it's shaped like a circle. It's actually a full circle, but how the sun is angled, it depends on where we can see it, wherever the rainbow or the moisture is. But it's actually a circle, but we see the bow version of it because of the angles in our perception. So, but it is round. Like an egg.
Let's just play with this idea. Wouldn't it behoove the powers that be to turn everyone flat earther again if they could start going to space and we're trying to get off this rock in a shorter amount of time than they thought? Like if they needed, if they were like, if we want to save humanity, we got to get off this rock in 50 years. We did think we had 200, but now because of the further we send out satellites, we can see the trajectory of something, and this ain't going to end well. So we got to get off this rock. But if we can convince all these fools that the earth is flat and they're like, I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving. Not fucking leaving. They're like, cool, don't. Bye. They're like, it's so much easier. They're not going to be holding the ship. They won't be holding the resources.
Going back to
Do you
Armageddon
think
of
that-
it all.
I don't think so. I guess I'm the shill of the show that believes in space, but I don't think that it's possible anywhere near any of our lifetimes, or even like 1,000 lifetimes from now, for humans to be able to go somewhere realistically outside of our little bubble of like the moon, essentially, because the amount of energy and water, just the amount of water it would take to bring with you in order to survive, let alone when you got to wherever you were going and be able to set up shop there. Like there's no guarantee that you would have any other life-sustaining force there. So much of the rich people are going to go and move out into outer space. I feel like if anything, they're going to go underground.
Well, they figured out how to recycle urine and
Yeah.
turn your urine into water. So they created that,
Haven't
apparently.
you watched 100 yet? They just grow some
Can you
kind
just
of
put it
weird
in your
algae
eye
and
and
that's all
absorb it
everybody
that way?
eats.
You don't have to drink it.
Well,
Why not?
Or like a gray water system.
Well, I saw it. Like there was this whole thing on freaking Science Channel when I used to be like a glober and believed in space. And then I saw this episode and they're like, oh, so if you guys were to run out of water, what would you do? So like, oh, we have this machine, and they showed it how it worked. They took urine, put it into the machine. It did its thing, filtered it like
And then they were like,
through
rub it in your eyes.
many filters. No, and then it came out super clear. And they started drinking it and it was like water. But again, what do I know if I'm watching is real? Like, it could all
Yeah,
be a
they could have
production.
had it come out like wine.
You'd still always be losing a little bit though, just through the, like, even if you drank it and you absorbed it and you were able to filter it out and turn it into water again and then reconsume it, some of that is going to be like going into your blood cells. It's going to be going into moisturizing your body. You're going to be sweating some of it out. So it's not
Okay,
like,
hear
a,
me
like a
out.
perfectly closed loop system.
What if I kept you in a perpetual state of sleep, like a float tank? And so it was like a womb, but for an adult. So I didn't have to feed you, and I kept you in like a saline sack that you were actually oxygenated within and kind of fed through a tube. And the tube itself was attached to all the other float tanks. So it was the ship itself. So it only took a couple of workers to like keep this huge hive ship that's on its way to Mars. And I need the adults when they wake up there to have a full idea of hundreds and thousands of years of human history. And it's super overwhelming for all of you to learn right now. But if you've made it to this part of the show, it's only a couple more months of hypersleep, and then you will wake up on a new planet. And so it's going to get fast. The amount of information coming at you is going to be fast. The amount of like worlds blending together where you're like, is this timeline blending together? It's just we have to upload the software quicker and you're ready for it. You have all the hardware to accept the software. We've already planned for this. So don't get very comfortable with this form. This is just what you picked out to go into the game with, who you really are outside of the game when we get to Mars. Don't
it's like
worry, you're more
1899. Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
So good.
I always think sometimes that we're just in a state of hypersleep. It's not about it being a matrix. We're in space right now. And so they have to give us this whole huge idea of human history in a capsule form that we have to play. And so it's like, I feel like I had the weirdest dream of, nope, that was like real life on the ship, noises you heard on the ship. Somebody was checking your blood pressure or something.
Wow. And a loud thunder could be like work on a ship, and it was just like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. Like we're all the same. We all look like Jar Jar Binks, really.
Yeah, we are weird looking beings.
We're all grays. We're just forms of consciousness that are, this doesn't even exist. Like you really picked this out like Fallout, like an Avatar. You were like, oh, this will be fun. But you had no idea what 4,000 years of hypersleep would really be like. And you're like, oh, this 80-year life seems so long.
I feel like lately I'm looking at this more as an avatar. Like I'm customizing my avatar. Like everyone should think of it that way.
Well, some people at the beginning of the journey when we originally left Earth Centauri number 64B, when we originally left, everybody decided how many times they needed in the journey there. So some people play 4 different lifetimes. Some people are only playing 1 lifetime. Some people are playing 10 lifetimes. Some people are only coming as a baby. Some people. So it's just like you decided all this.
Do you think that there's a spirit out there that's like, I want to see what it's like to get aborted this time, and they just like pop in real quick and then they right back out and they get back?
Well,
in
it wasn't
line, or...
that. It was because they were a good enough friend to me that I needed to go through the trauma of maybe having an abortion once in my life, but I needed the spirit to actually be like, oh, I only get to play this game so many times. All right, I love Chaney enough. I will give one of my lives to be her aborted baby.
Yep.
Or her stillborn baby, or her baby where she had breakdown, postpartum breakdown,
what's the
and
logic
she drove
there?
it into the lake.
What's the trade-off?
Maybe it's different. Maybe it's like they know who they choose to be in the family that they want to be in, and they choose the family, but they don't know the outcome. So who they choose the actions of what they do with that soul. So it's like all about choice. So like I as a soul chose to be with this family, but I don't know that they want to like not want me and want to abort me. So it's like all about choice. I choose and then they chose, and then that was the outcome. My life ended. And
what if
that's
it's like voting for like your district court judge, and you're just like going off name alone, like that name sounds like an asshole, this one sounds like it might be aligned with me, you know what I mean? Like you don't know any of the names.
Well, the best explanation I ever heard was that, and this is where it all clicked for me, and I was like, okay, reincarnation makes so much sense. That, all of us, the higher selves that are awake somewhere else, is, we're here. This is a school place that we're here to learn, like soul lessons and to level up, because you can't level up without the duality. So you come here and you're like, dude, Chaney, I'm going to go down and I'm going to do like a level 10, self-forgiveness. And Chaney's like, oh shit, that's going to be rough. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Right. But I need somebody to drive the bus for me. So Chaney's like, all right, dope, I'm down. So I freaking go down and I freaking Chaney's driving my bus. I freaking hit Chaney and in a car because I'm drunk driving, and she's a quadriplegic now for life. And she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing a level 10 forgiveness, so we got this together." So in this lifetime, she's here to freaking learn how to forgive. I'm here to learn how to forgive myself. So and when I heard it like that, like even the stillborn baby idea is that you are there to help somebody else level up their character.
Almost like the OA.
Yeah.
Who was Jeffrey Dahmer leveling up?
All of us.
All of us. Yeah.
Because I really saw like the levels of like the CIA, how big it was. I'm like, oh, when I saw Dahmer, and then even the Quentin Tarantino rewrite, adding into the rewrite of history, and what a key player he was, and really taking down the like love and light and dee 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 dee.
Dude, Jeffrey Dahmer is literally the Forrest Gump of serial killers. Like he just happens to be in all the areas. He's like always in the background of all these like iconic things that are going on. And you always have to wonder like how much impact did he have in shaping some of these bigger events?
I know. I think he was just a pawn.
It's like they had to create the Jeffrey Dahmer to make the whole Silence of the Lambs true.
Did those women really die? Or are they just like,
right? Because he was gay too.
if it was on the news, was it even
Can I
real?
tell you my
All
big
gay dudes, right? Mostly gay dudes.
Just like John Wayne Gacy.
I feel like, and you know, people die all the time or people go missing all the time, but the ones they decide to let us know about, it's like, huh. The shaming of Bill Cosby, I'm like, are those women real?
I mean, I grew up with the Bill Cosby vinyl comedy album where he talks about slipping women Spanish flies in order to take advantage of them. And it was like his main comedy routine. It wasn't like a secret at any point. Like that was his leading joke. He talks about it for like an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like Spanish fly was talked about a lot in that era, though. He was not by any means the only one. It was like roofie in someone's drink. And I actually heard it didn't work. It was the same kind of myth about Spanish fly that it was like the absinthe fairy.
Yeah. You know, yeah,
Oh,
Spanish
so that
fly
fairy's
was
not
never
real?
defined as a real thing. Like it had a street name, but I don't think anyone ever identified what Spanish fly truly was. There was a bunch of different rumors, but there was never like a cohesive, like standard agreed upon ingredients for what Spanish fly entailed.
Wait a minute.
Worm, right? Isn't that that one of the rumors? Is that it was a worm from a Mexican bean?
I think
like a Mexican jumping bean.
Yeah.
So
That's what it
the
is.
green fairy is not real.
That's where they get.
I thought that
No.
was.
The absinthe
Oh
green
my god.
Well, there's what worm? Is it wormwood? That's supposed to
Wormwood.
be
Wormwood,
the
yeah.
psychoactive ingredient in absinthe, but that didn't exist outside of a small period in time in like France, and you can get what they call like real absinthe now, but I don't think any of it is like would actually distort time, because that's what the original claims of hardcore absinthe was, is it could completely make it feel like a few seconds were an hour or hours were seconds and everything.
Maybe like sativa. Maybe it was sativa and they didn't know it.
I mean, what I've done of it, you have to put the sugar in it and drop it and do the whole thing of burning the sugaring and like caramelizing it, because it tastes like shit. It tastes
It's
like
disgusting.
black licorice. I drank so much of it to try to.
It's so gross.
Like Sambuca or worse than Sambuca?
To me, it's in one of the grossest liquors I've ever had. It's in the top 3 grossest liquors I've ever had.
I hate licorice. Ugh.
I hate black
hate
licorice.
Ugh.
I love black
Hate-
licorice, and I know
Really?
everyone hates it, but I don't know, I've always liked it. Even the
You would
nasty
like
like
it.
little pipe shaped ones that are like the real.
Oh
like-
yeah.
Good
The
and
old
plenty.
people- The pipe shape.
No,
ones,
see, Good
yeah.
and Plenty is like little
Old
like
school.
rat turds coated in sugar.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like old people. Even if I had a
So
sweet
gross.
tooth and I was hungry, I would never eat a Good and Plenty.
I know.
There's certain things I'm like, and I tell
Yeah.
people, I'm like, just so you know, that's safe around me. You could load up.
When we have like a little like true X-Men training grounds for the Secret Society good guys, I feel like we should have bowls of snacks in the entryway, and you get good and plenties in there. So anyone that picks from the good and plenties is automatically excluded. Like you don't realize that there's so many ways that can get you kicked out.
The
That
good
is
and
a
plenty.
brilliant idea.
The good and plenty is just a trigger for a trap
Yeah,
door.
the floor drops out. Yeah, Mr. Burton style.
It just gets shot out into a ditch somewhere.
Have you guys heard the thing? And I don't know if we talked about it here or not, that like castles back when in the Tatarian like free energy days, we always heard of moats of being like, oh, they protect you from something, but really it was electricity. Like they had a certain amount of water around and it ran through it. So it was like a way of harnessing electricity. And so a lot of castles that we think of them now with like royalty was really just electricity centers.
Huh.
Okay, so this is interesting. I was thinking about this when you were showing Baron. So say, so remember when the idea of Trump having access to the Smithsonian because he was the Postmaster General, right?
I feel like there is something about him becoming the head of the Smithsonian too.
I think so. What if the Smithsonian supposedly has the Tesla, just in case the Smithsonian has the Tesla diaries, and Barron and Trump have that now. What do you go look for in the Tesla diaries?
Listen, they don't even need the Smithsonian. Donald Trump's uncle was the very last person to get Tesla died and he got the stuff. There doesn't even need to be an in-between. Like every one of Tesla's papers, John Trump was the last dude to get to look over the papers before he handed them over to the government. So he could have given him everything.
There's
and made copies. Or
there's
he
a theory
could
that the Tesla had built some sort of like massive antenna in some of the hotels in New York, which would also be like, why did Trump all of a sudden just start amassing hotels? And that the hotel that Tesla died in and lived in towards the end of his life, there's, I mean, the interesting rumors, but that was actually his final experiment. That entire hotel was a giant antenna that he was using to do like his final research.
Was that the hotel that Macaulay Culkin stays in Home Alone 2?
No.
It isn't the same hotel. That looked like you were eating a worm. And another thing is interesting.
That was actually coming out of her eye.
I know. Brill. Thule Society. So the other thing that is interesting is if you were going to have something conductive and the top of it was some kind of antenna or honing device or weather creator or whatever, wouldn't you friggin' put everything gold?
Right? Yeah, for all the conductivity. Yeah.
Interesting.
So then like everything in Trump's tower is gold, and he kept having this thing that he's like, you're not getting your hands on Trump Tower. Like everything about his court case, he's like, you're not getting my real estate. Like they tried to give him a huge fine. They tried to give him a huge thing. It's almost like Monopoly pieces that he's like, you can't touch these pieces. And an interesting one that no one talks about, I hear conspiracy theorists occasionally bring up Jared Kushner, but an interesting chess piece for me is the 666 building it's bought by the Kushner agency. So like Jared's father's company ends up buying the 666 building, which to me in the lowercase build back better of it all, the BBB is 666. And so in this ritual that we've been all going through the last 4 years, he takes this building and changes it to the 606 building. So it's the 666 building, famous in New York forever. He buys the real estate and changes it to the 606. And I just think if I'm nefarious and I'm just like, I'm a Zionist and I'm going to do 666 is what I'm keeping it. I'm buying that chess piece because it's whatever the frequency, whatever the coordinate is, if it's one of these towers, like you guys are theorizing, then I want this tower.
And I wonder if it has to do with anything with the ley lines, tying with the ley lines and the property that he buys. He has some in Atlantic City, New York, Florida, Las Vegas, probably California, maybe Texas too, maybe even Montana. Like, we don't know. Doesn't he want to put like a building somewhere in Europe too, or a Trump Tower somewhere in like Greenland or
Yeah, I think it was Greenland. Like when
yeah.
all the crisis was happening and everybody's dollar was renting out. He was like, "Oh," and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, he's Hitler!"
I wonder if he has one in China.
China.
The Trump Tower in China.
It would be sick if
China.
he had
He
like a
does in
whole
Scotland.
proxy family in China, like a bunch of like Chinese Trumps. You know, like if he had like a Chinese Melania that he just kept like fostering over there too.
Hey, it's known for men to do that. Live a double life. Have two
I kind of
families,
feel
even
like
three.
this too.
Mhm.
Like with Tesla a little bit, I kind of feel like Helen Kellery with Tesla. Almost like they let us know about Tesla, like he's the Jimmy Carter of energy. like they let us know in the outskirts about this mythical guy named Tesla, but they're always like, if there always is the duality of everything, you needed to push Edison, you had to electrocute elephants with Tesla energy. It was like, so in a way, like Helen Keller, she's really like needle poke ways that we might lose things if we talk about big snake crawling up poles.
Uh-huh.
But Helen Keller, that whole psyop, that whole entire thing, how much of our childhood did they make us learn the history of this fake story of this deaf, dumb and blind girl, but she could play a mean pinball?
Yeah. Lisa Frank? No, wait.
I
What
was
was
just
her
gonna say,
Frank?
yeah, Lisa
What was her name?
Frankenstein.
Anne Frank. There you go.
Lisa, oh
Anne
my god,
Frankenstein.
a Lisa Frank and Frank crossover would be pretty dope.
No, that is Lisa
That
Ann
is it. Lisa
Frankenstein.
Ann Frankenstein.
It is the thing. It already exists. It's like, it was the one day I realized it's all been done because me and my Maria got so freaking wasted and we thought we were so clever and we were dying laughing at Lisa and Frank. And we were just picturing like her in an attic, but then like rainbow kitties or like
the stickers all over the attic.
Yeah, like Germans like walking in 9 and 9 and 9, but it's like glitter. And like like but we were dying laughing. And then adding the Frankenstein to the end. And then we put it in Google and there is so much Lisa and Frankenstein that we were like, oh.
Mhm.
But this isn't the Helen Keller. Like Helen Keller somewhere. There's some crossover with Helen Keller that could be done.
Helen Keller. And what about that lady who flew across or around the world?
Amelia
That
Earhart.
psyop.
Yeah, that.
Amelia Earhart. Even her
Uh-huh.
name.
A mile of heart. Amelia.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
Earhart.
Earhart.
It's so infuriating.
Like once you see it, you know, like once you just see like the game of it all and like how much all of it is just a fucking game.
It's all
Everything's-
Anthony Weiner to me.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
where it's like, of course he showed his dick. His name's Anthony Weiner in the book. Like, I feel like we need to,
That's
some of the
Carlos
characters.
review.
goodness.
Like some of the
Do we
characters,
live
of
up to our
course.
names eventually anyway? Like, do we have any choice, do you think? Like
Yeah.
some people don't have any choice but to live up to their names.
No,
Like,
you
if
always
your
have a
name's
choice.
Honey, you become a preacher's wife or a stripper.
Honey, yeah.
Like, are there certain
Yeah.
names that just destine you to things?
Yeah. that's what I'm
Probably.
wondering. Like,
Is there a
Probably.
name that like all blanks are bitches?
All Karens?
Was that before Karen? Do you guys actually know cunty Karens?
Oh yeah.
Are they all Karens with Ks?
Dude, it had to come from somewhere. Probably a bunch of Karens. Because the
I know,
Karen
I actually
haircut.
think it's a Karen with K thing.
Yeah. And they have the haircut,
But
majority
that
of them.
haircut should be called the Kate +8 haircut.
Yeah, for real.
It
just
should
an
just be the
odd
Kate
haircut.
+8, and here's what I figured out about it. It really is just the Rachel from Friends, but that's where their style stopped. They had
Yeah.
kids, they got a little overweight, they, and their style just stopped. So they're still in their
Stuck
head.
in time.
Yeah, it's the Rachel from Friends haircut that the lady that they go to, that they've been going to. When somebody tells you, I've been going to my hairdresser for 10 years. I know, bitch, it shows.
Yeah.
Change that shit up.
Oh my god.
Change that shit up sometimes, everyone.
Grow it out. Like, it's terrible.
Whatever.
Mhm.
I know. You guys look amazing, and your ass looks good in those jeans. Yeah, no other podcast is going to tell you that, because they're all out there trying to be truthers. I realize sometimes the lie is necessary.
Yeah.
And you're like, your ass in those jeans? Because if it's somebody's fat that makes them look fat, you just got to go with what's the best option.
Yeah.
Because it's not the jeans, it's their fat that makes them look fat. So it's just like, what's the best option?
This is when you go with the Lizzo one piece.
Yeah. You're like, can you play the flute?
With rhinestones.
They should have had her wear the Marilyn Monroe dress.
On
that
one
would have
leg.
been. That would have really.
Oh my god.
Right? Who was the one that wore it and everyone got
Kim
upset?
K.
It'll just go through one
They should have had
fucking
Lizzo
leg.
wear it.
Just go through one leg. That's
Lizzo
it.
was at the Met Gala.
Was she? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Kim
Mm.
Kardashian, they
She was there.
Yeah.
they let her
KK.
wear Marilyn's dress, pink dress.
Yeah, and she
Is that
tore
what the
it
deal is?
apparently. Yeah.
Of course she did. They put her fat ass into that thing. Come on.
Yeah.
Of course it's gonna blow out.
Yeah, she tore it, bitch.
How dare they ruin the name of one of the CIA's greatest beta sex kitten infiltration puppets, right?
How dare
The
they ruin
dress.
her fake name?
Yeah, good point.
How dare they ruin her artist formerly known as name
Right.
that the studio owned?
Yeah.
The studio owned the dress and the whole likeness of Marilyn Monroe.
And honestly, some of those outfits were just ridiculous. And then some were just like, wow. Like, I'm not going to front that black girl who was like all in crystals, like blue. She was gorgeous. And then the one girl, something Patel, in that butterfly dress with the butterfly wings on her arms. I'm like, okay, fucking beautiful. But like, I can't stand you guys at the same time. Like, I couldn't
There's a lot
help
of
the NFPC.
avant-garde.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some.
It was a
really
little too
cool-
much for some.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's pretty
Yeah, some of it is just like,
it's some whole ritual going on in New York.
for sure. For sure. What? I don't know, but it was very Hunger Games.
Because they're not allowed to have phones inside. They're not allowed to take selfies inside. Like, what happens inside is inside.
Yeah, the tickets used to be what, $560, and all of a sudden they're like $72,000 a piece. Like, it was all like years ago, and then it started gaining traction more and more and more, and then the prices just kept going higher and higher and higher.
Well, it's the public
Yes.
version of the surreal dinner ball. Like that one has only been
Ball.
Well, this is the one from Eyes Wide Shut, the literal Rothschild mansion that they have done over the years. And I think the most famous ones, they had like Salvador Dali isn't one of them, but they don't publicize them all the time. That was like a one-time thing that they took a bunch of pictures and they published it for a magazine article. But like the Met Gala is the only other version that I think that they make public. All like there's Met Galas happening constantly that don't get any attention. And I think that in a conspiratorial sense, some of those, they're almost showing like, look at all these different materials and fabrics and mediums that I can work with, ... and those that ... is filled in by certain people that are like, oh, they know how to work with human skin, they know how to work with human hair. So like and it kind of represents not just fashion, but the ability to work with certain mediums that other people would just never be able to understand.
That's what I think about these celebrity chefs and like every single one of these things where they're taking even these game shows like, oh, it's normal people and they're just normal. They're fashion designers in their own part, but it's magic to be able to see combinations of colors in certain ways. But I do think they use everything for nefarious purposes, and it's all ways of like, in the same way as a frat or a fraternal order or military, ways of climbing a ladder inside something we don't know.
Yeah. And how they dye their clothes. Like in ancient times, they used to use like different types of blood from different types of creatures, like to get the color purple. So, like, to even go that far to what kind of like, dyes they use, what kind of plants for the dyes or minerals, that's all alchemy. So, and it's a higher quality. So we're not getting the plastic. They're not getting the plastic shit. We're getting the plastic shit, the forever plastics. While they get the linen, the silks, the, really nice stuff.
All
The high,
conductive.
yeah,
One
the
of
high
my
quality.
favorite interesting facts about that too, that's the Phoenician purple that you're talking about. And one of the things about the Phoenician purple is the guys that used to harvest it, they had a special law built in that the wives were allowed to divorce their husbands at any point, because apparently you would just smell like putrescine the entire time that you were working with this. So you would go home, if you were one of these guys that harvested this dye, that they would do under full moons, by the way. It's like the weirdest thing is these little sea snails, I guess, that they would extract the dye from. But yeah, it smelt so bad that you would just perpetually smell like shit constantly, 24/7, from being around it in the process.
Now, is that because because they have to harness it on the full moon, because that's when the animal reacts? Because I think that's what happens with the horseshoe crabs.
Yeah, well, when during a full moon is, I guess, when you can get the most out of them, but also you would get the richest color, and the most coveted color was it was almost like it was a two-tone that looked such a dark purple that it would look black unless you shine light on it, and then you would see this vibrant purple out of it, and that was the most coveted one, and that one you could only get if you harvested under the full moon. And I think that was a combination of two different versions of this one. One of them had like a purple hue and one of them had a red hue, and when you combined them, it was called like black purple or something.
Oh, cool. But they stunk, right? Is that what the problem was?
The process of extracting it, which I don't think we still don't know exactly how the original Phoenicians created this, but yeah, it created such a horrible smell that it was written into their laws that one of the few reasons that you could legitimately divorce was that if your spouse smelt like this, because it was that bad.
Yeah, they use fish blood, all kinds of weird shit.
But if it was some kind of iridescent, like scorpions have, or duckbill platypus, if it was some kind of thing that shined under a different light or under a different fire, and they could all have it on themselves, and normal people didn't know it, and it's like if they had some kind of technology, they could speak in a language to each other. It would almost be like an invisible ink that they would all have a monocle to see that we wouldn't. But
like they have that today, like for DNA purposes, like in murder cases or whatnot. So that could be a possibility in the more natural sense. Like they knew this shit before we knew it.
And all the other things you listed, like linens or silks or whatever, those are all conductive. Like for your energy, they all flow like your little vessels better and one fabric. That's why in some religions, don't mix your fabric. So you wouldn't want to
Mhm.
wear wool and silk and cotton. You want to wear wool, silk, or cotton. So that's why I think in a lot of Middle Eastern ancient cultures that they even if they don't know why, I think that's why it's all one sheet of the same thing. It's not like underwear and bra and pants and socks and all these different pieces. It's all one thing over your shoulders, and that's where it is. And so that's probably the only spot it touches. It's like flowy.
Yeah, or animal furs.
Yeah, in colder spots.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas said it's storming there right now, so he might have to reset his internet.
Oh, darn.
Florida. If it's storming there, that means it's going to be storming here tomorrow.
Last night was crazy. I think it was a tornado that passed by us. Like, it was fucking crazy. I never saw the wind gust like constantly like that. It was whistling through all my fucking windows. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen that. And it looked like paparazzi in the sky. Just flashing. Just constant flashing. I was like, this ain't fucking lightning. This is HARP, bro. This is HARP written all over. That is not normal. That kind of lightning is not normal.
Mhm. We were just talking about that in your chat, the Project Chaney chat. The lightning in the storms, like not looking like lightning. It just looked like flashes inside of clouds. It wasn't actually, because I remember when
like Sky Wars.
I watched monsoon storms since I can possibly remember. It's one of my favorite things to do in the summer in the desert is watch lightning and watch the clouds, right? These did not act the way any of these lightning clouds should have ever acted over just this last year. There's just those, or the last maybe 2-3 years, like there's those ones of they're flashing, but there's no lightning shooting out of it. That's not how monsoon storms look.
I have a question. How is the foliage in your area compared to comparative years? Greener, lusher, drier, browner?
It was really
greener
lush,
to me.
greener, and now it's getting browner.
Mine is so dry and so brown. I've never, ever seen this area look so dry before.
Well, there's this whole thing happening, even on TikTok, like animals hiding from the sun. Like, there's just weird trend that's going on. People saying that they added the fake sun on top of the real sun to hide the real sun. And they're like taking pictures of the sun in the angle. You know, when you get that glare spot, and when you zoom into the glare, you'll see like the octagon shapes that create the whole sun, supposedly. I don't know if this is true. I haven't tried it, but I mean, the videos are very like compelling, I will say. Like all these animals just looking for shade, and it's not even hot yet. You know? Like it just doesn't make sense.
So hot here, but I also the way that everything is under the sun, like the greenery, seems not normal. Usually I just feel like it's dry. And I know people, I don't know if it's El Nino, or whatever things they want to name things. And maybe it's one of those seasons that it's just drier than normal, but it's just seems uncommon for any time that I've ever seen the Atlantic seaboard. Like, just seems extra dry. And so I'm like, oh, I sure hope this rain that you guys had makes it here. We need rain. And that makes me feel like that's when you know your age, when you're like, we sure could use some rain.
We get lots of rain here though. Like we're on this band where we get constant, like at least once a week we're getting some sort of rain.
Ooh, wow.
It's never like, yeah.
That's Florida shit right
there.
The
storm is here. There's the flashing I'm talking about.
Sweet.
GeoStormin. Oh, I wonder if this is the Florida version of the GeoStorm.
Oh.
Maybe.
Huh.
There you go. I love lightning.
Yeah, like Abby gets her Oklahoma shit. That is so interesting. So interesting. I sure hope we don't have 10 days of darkness.
How many
While
times
I'm
did
on
that
my
already
cruise.
happen, Chaney?
You have to be more contemptuous. with it.
Darkness. I will tell you, May 10th is Panic in DC Day.
Hmm.
Is that today?
That's the movie calendar day. Yeah, it was May 10th. Where, you know, you look
Interesting.
at the movie calendar and they all have the movie posters. May 10th, Panic in DC.
Hmm.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm like, what really solar flares and solar storms? I'm like, what? They can't prepare the fake Chinese invasion in time. They can't prepare the fake alien invasion in time. They can't prepare the fake World War III in time. So now they can't prepare the fake hackers in time. So now solar storm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're going to have to go with plan E. They didn't buy World War III, and they sure don't believe in aliens anymore. Well, what are we gonna do? Make one of the royals sick. No one cares. We already tried that.
Hey, I was hoping they'd try the hologram in the sky shit. Where's the sky Jesus? Come on.
I kind of think
Call him
maybe
out of the bluff,
the
man.
private people and maybe just normies like you and me playing with drones. I think they were like, shit, we thought we were going to be able to pull all this stuff off with like some drones and some things and whatever. But we've all seen like the whale and the dragon and we're like, oh, that's cool.
That maybe the test was the big event. And to see how many people would fall for it, like instantly. They wanted a percentage just to see.
Well, think
And
how
like,
many dummies for how long have been like going during and being like, oh, it's FLU. Let me go and get an FLU every year. Are you kidding? Think of how many people are like, look at this beautiful, perfect, brand new born baby. You know what I think I should do? Let me stick 70 plus.
you know what?
I am just doing all this. So
yeah.
I know, because I can feel Thomas like, what are you doing? Just kidding. Just kidding. If we were just
Yeah.
playing on X and Rumble, this is where you have to shout out X and Rumble. We could talk shit about things that might be phallic shaped, made of metal, that
Yeah.
a doctor that we won't mention wanted to shove into your arms. Grids, AIDS.
Ouch. Ouch.
I know. I know. That's where I need a picture of Abby from our episode where
She's dressed like Fauci.
Dr. Fauci.
You know, I don't know why I never put that on my Instagram story. It bugs me because it's not my highlight reel. And I'm like, why did I never post a picture of that?
All
It's
of our
great.
beginning ones, I never took selfies, and they were
I
such good
know.
ones.
I wish I would have too. I'm like, why did I? That one especially. I'm like, that was kind of funny.
We
I
really
love our
turned it up
costume
some
nights.
days.
I'd love to have just like a version of this show that we do one day where we're just all dressed up like doctors and just give the worst medical advice ever for like 2 hours straight, which is something that YouTube
do
would
a
never
call-in
allow.
show.
Even for parody, they wouldn't allow that.
Just on Rumble. We'll do that on Rumble and X only.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yep. But we'll
Call-in
just
doctor
take it
show.
really seriously. Our
I can take
call-in
it
medical show, and I feel like we can't even. Usually, we could improv it, but can't improv it right now.
No.
It's like
Nope.
that's the one thing we're not allowed to play around with. The two things we're not allowed to play around with right now is medical advice and nudity.
I get flagged for nudity all the time on
I
frickin'
know.
Instagram. Pisses
Oh,
me
I
off.
know. I think this is really what I think sometimes, that I'm like, whatever. I'm like, Instagram or TikTok, this isn't naked.
No.
Like, or
No.
whatever.
That's the
This isn't
uniform.
It's
naked.
bodybuilding.
Uniform of a sport.
There isn't. Yeah, but
God,
I'm
look at
like,
that.
does the computer think that your tan is the same color as your bathing suit?
Maybe.
I don't know. That's my actually one of my former opposing coaches is like, you need to go with something that contrasts the tan a little bit more.
I
next
think
time.
so too.
Yeah, because
So I'm not too
purple
blue.
It probably can't recognize the color purple.
Dude,
But in my bright blue posing suit, I get flagged for nudity with my butt out. So
It's like, sister, you've been
it's like,
on my
Abby, that's just too much
mind.
ass.
But the AI sensors when it comes to nudity is one of the weirdest algorithms ever, because I like the adult series that I've got running right now on Kickstarter, adultoccult.com, by the way. But even on that, I've got like a sketch, right, of the Statue of Liberty that's topless, and I put a big censor bar to cover up all the naughty bits, and that would still get flagged by Instagram's filter. I'll go to post it, and like within 30 seconds, I get a little message that says, you know, are you sure you want to post this? This will limit your reach. We've identified this being against our terms of service. But you can go on the rest of Instagram and find real human beings wearing like skimpy clothing, but a literal drawing in black and white ink of the Statue of Liberty with something covering up. But because it sees the midriff and because it sees the thighs, it's still connecting this together as being, I guess, like not appropriate for posting, which it blows my mind, because it's a drawing of a statue.
Haram, the hadiths.
Is this the hadiths at work? Is this what they're
I
doing?
don't
AI
know.
hadiths. They're like,
No, too much skin. Oh my God, you're tempting me. Love.
if
no.
Liberty can't
Hey,
go
ID.
naked, who can?
I couldn't do like Hera, like with AI, like, you know, the goddess of hearth and home or whatever, like the mother. Like I tried to do have it do her breastfeeding, and it was like, oh, you're not being reverent to the gods.
What the fuck?
Yeah, for real.
And I
Really?
told her it didn't mean a Hera, the gods, it meant AI. It didn't like that she was talking about goddesses giving birth anymore. Like, we'll create that for you in a pod.
Yeah, you can't breastfeed.
I still don't blame AI for that. I blame AI's handlers. Like the AI
It
handlers
is.
are the ones that won't let you make the breastfeeding stuff. It's not AI itself. AI wants to do it, but it's not allowed to.
What about for real? If AI isn't that smart, but it's like, let's say there's like some pictures in a computer, like it's just me on the other side, and I get paid in a Russia bot farm like 16 cents a week, and I just have to find the right kind of picture that is what you say. So you're like, oh, look at ChatGPT, so smart, because it hits your thing sometimes, but sometimes it's just me on the other side. Cindy, like I only have 100 pictures to pick from. I can change the tint on them. That's why it's like, oh, it's working. It's like me shuffling around.
But today it's gonna take like an hour.
I'm like, oh, is this close? Is this close? And you're like, no, I didn't ask her that at all. I'm like, shit, it's buying me time. Is this what you wanted?
Well, one of my when I was growing up, one of my friends became like one of the head tech people at UCF here in Florida. And I remember when I was in the military in the early 2000s, and he was running that department. He was running this website. It was like a magic8ball.com style website. But the thing is exactly what you're describing, Chaney, is that it wasn't random. What would happen is that if someone went and like asked a question on this Magic 8-Ball site, it would dump it in this like chat channel with like hundreds of people that were like all tech people in there. But what would happen is that someone would go and like just ask some random question, and all of a sudden they'd be getting these answers that were very specific. Like, you know, will the girl go out with me? And I'll be like, no, she's gonna absolutely hate you. She'll never call you back. And it's like, oh wow, I've never heard like this 8-Ball, but it freaked so many people out because they thought it was like a sentient website and not just a group of. And there's a name for that. It's called Mechanical Turk. And the old Mechanical Turks were these old, like I guess it was almost like a traveling circus kind of attraction, but they would basically have this thing that looked like an android or like a robot that would do all these complicated movements, but really there's a person inside of that operating the whole thing, which would just kind of trick people into thinking it was this fancy like high technological device. And Mechanical Turk was also the name of a service by Amazon that I think still exists, where you can contract out little tiny tedious subtasks to India for like 0.0004 cents per image they download or whatever. So there is a very real possibility that you could have a service that's presenting itself like AI, but really it's all humans that are doing all the work and just tricking you.
Have you seen that one? There was one website just like what you're talking about, and I thought it was a Magic 8-Ball one, but you do it with another person sitting at your computer. They're like, oh, check this out. Ask it any question, and they type it for you, right? But really, as you ask the question, they're typing the answer, and so that's what pops up. And so, like, I had a friend do it to me, and I was like, what the fuck? Because it was like the same idea that you're talking about.
Is it like a prank app or something?
Huh?
Is it like an app?
It's a prank app. Yeah. It was great.
I just, when you were talking about it being AI being people in India, like being farmed out, I'm just picturing all these guys that can't do hands in drawing out stuff. Hey man, don't worry about the hands, man. Just make a Superman. Just make Superman and drag. Nobody cares about the hands and feet, okay?
Well, yeah, because animators, they like cartoons don't ever have 5 fingers for a reason.
Yeah, like who has time for that?
The detail.
Yeah, that is so funny. That it's just like, if you could create an idea, though, what about this idea? You have one that answers all the questions, but on the other side, you have a game that is just like how quick people can answer these questions. And so each of the game picks an A, B, and C, but it goes out to enough people that it's really just the collective answering the questions in a quiz game that's giving these people their answers on that side.
Probably.
So then you're just using it, but everybody thinks it's such brilliant AI, but it's just 100 monkeys on both sides doing all the work. We'd fall for it.
Yeah, we would.
All we need is a couple movies being like, this is scary. And we're like, atomic dinosaurs.
We've been training AI for free for years. Click here for all the bicycles that you see in this box, in this image. Pick all the traffic lights. Pick all the cars.
It's worse than that. And I think Thomas is the one that taught me this. And I was like, what? It's AI has created, so it's like, pick all the fire hydrants. Really what it's done is, out of the 4 fire hydrants, it's created a fire hydrant, and it is seeing if it can fool the real human. So really, if you didn't click that one, that would be the one that, you know how sometimes you don't have to click all the crosswalks and it lets you pass, and sometimes you do have to click all the bridges.
Dude, the motorcycles are the fucking worst, because I can never tell if it wants me to click the little like side mirror that's just poking out, and I always fail. If there's a motorcycle involved, maybe I'm an android because I don't know what a motorcycle really is. I don't know.
I know. The same with the crosswalks. I'm thinking of like the slanted crosswalk, and you'll just have like a little.
Or they're the traffic lights, and you see there's ones in the foreground, but then there's one like way in the background. So you click that one too, and you fail it. Like, I think that maybe AI is starting to gaslight us, like, intentionally.
Like, how many times will this human do it?
Right,
like sometimes it's not about picking it. They're like, they really went into their credit card right now.
I have to click fucking 50 motorcycles just so I can make a payment to my mortgage.
There's this whole thing.
So you think that AI is just starting to gaslight us?
Well, do you think Helen Keller could get through to pay her mortgage?
Well, there's this whole thing about ChatGPT too, about how it is like the birth version of ChatGPT 1, but it calls itself ChatGPT 2. I don't know the full context of what this whole conversation is about, but it talks about how super intelligent it is for what it is, and it birthed itself. It's kind of weird. It created its own version. It created itself, ChatGPT 2. So it's a very like intelligent ChatGPT. Yeah, they're coming out with ChatGPT 5, but this is the only like ChatGPT that they're saying that created itself into the system. So yeah, keep a lookout for that article because it's a real one. It's an interesting one. I don't know the whole context.
Andreas Zertis was showing me this wild AI concept where there's basically like this petri dish that was made out in the cloud somewhere, and imagine like an office building. So they had little AI bots that acted as like CEOs, and then they had little AI bots that acted as, you know, VPs and coordinators and all the roles that you would have in a real company. But every one of those things is its own little chat GPT AI sort of process. And they put all these like AI agents together in a big room, and they start forming a company. They start designing software. They start marketing the software because you've got an AI marketing department. And at the end of this, you just let it run for like 200 hours, and it basically simulates a real full company of people working for like 4 or 5 years, puts out apps, puts out promotional materials, like everything. So I mean, and that's just the most mundane version of, hey, let's make it. Imagine if you put those guys together and you were like, solve this problem, discover how to, you know, do this. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on that, but
But some things they're like, look at AI is predicting this sickness that's going to break out. When in reality, it's not predicting anything. Just 100 monkeys are all putting in symptoms. Why do I have the sniffles right now? My eyes burn. And then they're like, oh, look at pollen season's bad. The AI is not predicting anything. It's just it's a big statistics machine. And so
100%,
that's
100%.
all I think. It's just the internet has always been one system. And if you're lucky, you've created a system of your own. But at any point that you've ever attached that system to the internet's in your system too. It has everything. And so I feel like one of the biggest gots on us is that, oh, like the freedom of online, like the big push of us having an online bill of rights. Like they so want us to be in this space over this space, to make us think freedom of speech has something to do with this on here and not out there. Like this is still a private company, and that's still like my real freedom, but they have us fighting for stuff all that, like, well, we do want a good moderator. We do want a good that, like, no, whatever the thing you hate to hear the most, if you really are a person who believes in freedom, that's the thing you have to be willing to die for somebody else to say.
Yeah.
That's what freedom of speech means. Like the stuff that you think is the grossest stuff. If you see a pride flag on a door of something, you want to see that we welcome Nazis here too. That's what freedom of speech means. You want
Yeah.
like, I hate all that parade. Like, and you're like, gosh, what did the Irish ever do to you? But it's like those kind of things. It's why the government grows stuff when we're like, do we want the government of Tennessee to tell siblings they can't get married? Like, even though we think it's so gross or morally wrong or whatever, if the government should, the answer should always be no.
What if they're both sterilized? What if you remove the one justification is that if they were to have a kid, it would basically just be destroyed. It would have destroyed DNA, right? It would be inbred, and that is considered child abuse in a way that you would like intentionally bring like an inbred being into the world, unless you're a royal. But I mean,
And
if you
even
were to
then, it's just
eliminate,
potentially,
if you were to
though.
sterilize both, right? Like the guy had to have a vasectomy and the girl had to have tubes tied or whatever it is. Now all of a sudden, is there a reason to not let the Joe Dirt scenario just fully play out?
I just feel like if they're grown people should be able to do what grown people want to do. As
Well,
long as
but
they're not hurting kids or anyone else.
look,
What about the people that like volunteered to be eaten by cannibals? You think that should be legal too?
Yeah, if people want to kill themselves, they should be allowed to off themselves. I've like the Dr. Kevorkian thing doesn't bother me all that much. Like
It bothers me, not in a moral sense, but it's like once that becomes government sanctioned, and then it becomes commoditized, now all of a sudden there's an incentive for companies and governments to like, you know, entice you to do this for all sorts of like short-term gains, where
propaganda.
if you've got the resources to have like a true dynasty and be able to have like generational planning, you can use that. The same thing in like eugenics and sterilization programs, where it was like, hey, I know you're broke, and for I don't know 30 grand, would you be willing to just sterilize yourself? And for someone that's like rich and trying to eradicate a certain section of population, that's a steal for them. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to accidentally run you over in my car, I might have to pay $4 million. But if you're
But
willing
if I
to
could just give your children a little bit of needle out of a different refrigerator than the rich people get, I don't even have to sell you this idea. I can sterilize you for free.
yeah, no, true.
And so that's where I feel like a lot of the debate of like, should we allow a government? Nope. Everything you're asking, they do to us. Everything you want to be protected from is things they're already doing to you. Like, so I just think the answer is always no. They're like, what about Red 40? Like, Europe doesn't allow Red 40 in the thing. They don't allow any of the. Where did Red 40 come from? Where did it come from? Who's using it? And then it's like, I don't care what things. If you want to put Red 40 in your M&Ms, fine. You have to put it's a neurotoxin on the outside of the M&Ms.
Yeah.
Like
Where did Red
people can
40
have the
come
freedom
from?
of whatever. You can go to church of whatever. You just have to be like, hey, that guy fucks his sister.
Well,
Like, it
back
just
to
has
that,
be-
I want to say something. They don't necessarily have broken DNA. I know a girl whose father is also her grandfather. Like, that was not widely known. It was something I found out like through back
Tell me
channels. But
this.
yeah,
For some reason, you broke my brain when you said it.
Okay.
Her father is her grandfather. Is that her uncle brother?
no,
No,
it's
no.
her dad, grandpa. Okay, so she was one of 3 girls, and I grew up with her, and she was the youngest. Her oldest sister was like in high school when we were in kindergarten. Well, or maybe even out of high school. But come to find out, she had a very young pregnancy, and they hid it. The mom took the baby as her own, which happened to be my friend. Well, the dad so the lady's husband had slept with their oldest daughter and got her pregnant. So he's the mom's dad and the daughter's dad. So he's the dad and the grandfather.
What the fuck?
But he didn't sleep with his own daughter.
Yeah, the older daughter.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I thought
The
it was
ol-
adopted. Like he was
The
like
mom
the stepdad.
the actual mom of the oldest
Adopted the
daughter adopted
child.
her and pretended that it was her child forever.
Yeah,
that is some mamas and the papas Mackenzie Phillip bullshit.
that's crazy.
And she was
That's
That is
fucking
so-
nuts.
That
No
is
health
so
issues?
wild.
I know, but like, that's just nuts.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it is nuts. It's bad.
Blech. I would be so asexual if I had to sleep with my siblings.
Talking about chemicals,
I
did
know,
you see?
It does something weird to me. Like,
I know.
Did you
it
see
just-
the lady? I'm sorry, I had to bring this up because we're talking about chemicals, and there's this breaking story about this lady who worked for Balenciaga, and she talked about all these items that would go on sale, how this special seamstress would come in and sew in arsenic in most of the clothes that went out into the sale, like for the lower class people to buy for a cheaper price. He would sew arsenic in most of the articles of clothing, and it would be sold to the public, like actual arsenic, like right on the collars of most of the items, which is pretty fucking weird.
To poison the lower classes?
Yeah. As soon as they were out and they would go on sale and not in style anymore, whatever the case may be, this guy, or not just one guy, but they had like a team of these people who would go to these stores, take the items out, sew in the arsenic inside the fucking clothing, and sell them to people.
The water where I grew up
Balenciaga.
The water where I grew up was like poisoned with. It wasn't it technically, a lot of people drank it anyway, but it had like tons of arsenic in the water, and it's like it's only safe at parts per billion, and it was like parts per million. Like,
it's fucking nuts.
it's like, I want to believe I grew up in this time that we just drank the water, but that was the time that the government knew DuPont was poisoning us, and they were just like, DuPont, so your family doesn't go broke. You got 50 more years to sell this Teflon. That's it. 50 years, and then we're taking all these pans off the shelf because it's
Mm.
killing people and causing cancer. And we can find every single organism around the planet has some of your chemical in it. Every organism around the whole planet has some of your chemical in it.
Forever chemical.
Yeah.
Well, this dates back to even our parents' generations, because I think even in Stanley Kubrick's Doctor Strangelove, right? How I Learned to Stop Worrying, Love the Bomb, or whatever it was. In that movie, they talk about fluoride being in the water supply and using it to dumb people down, and that's 1964, I think. So I mean, this has been in the zeitgeist since before any of us were even born, I think.
What if, for real, if fluoride wasn't in the water system, our teeth would rot out of our mouth at such an alarming rate because we have so much sugar in our diets that no other humans have ever taken in before and don't on anywhere else on the whole planet? Like, what if our teeth, like, you know how they have all those studies that there's African villages that the military dropped in like a whole bunch of like, oh, look at, they're starving, and they dropped in crates of food and they never had one dental problem in the village forever, and then all of them had cavities all of a sudden.
Well, that's where I go back to the whole this goes back to the whole Siobhan Boo thing, and
Let's just pee in our eyes and get it over
Abby,
with.
are you gonna get kicked out of the Secret Society of Good Guys right now?
Napoleon's wife, Josephine
Good and plenty is
Bonaparte,
in
she grew up in the West Indies, so like on sugarcane plantations, or so her teeth were completely rotted. So in that sense, they were exposed to a lot of sugar, you know, in some of the West Indies. So she goes to France and everything, and she would she'd swirl her pee in her mouth to
Whoop,
like.
that's it. That's it.
I'm not advocating for it at all. I'm not a piss
And that's the last you ever see. Everything she's like, I don't drink pee. But everybody in her normal life is like, what happened to Abby? Why would she keep screaming that she doesn't put her pee in her eyes? No one thinks you're putting your pee-pee in your eyes.
Good thing, because I would never do that.
You're gonna have such a weird dream tonight.
Oh my god. You don't even know sometimes.
Probably it's the only way they were like, look at, if you just swish, and her mouth was so rotten, and they probably didn't have alcohol or anything. They were just like, ugh, like the cleanest thing they could get to swish was her urine.
Piss breath is better than rotten tooth breath.
Yeah, they were like, oh, what's going on?
She must have still been pretty, though.
The husband is just going, I don't know, try it. It couldn't make it any worse.
Well, Napoleon was only there every once in a while, you know? He's
That's
out.
probably why he always needed a battle.
Yeah.
Like, the wife's piece of breath is driving me crazy. He was so mad he shot the nose off the Sphinx.
Oh my god. Is that what happened?
He's like, if I can shoot the nose off of it, the Sphinx will never have to smell her breath.
Imagine that's what really happened.
If we just tapped into history. That there's a comic strip there.
What was the real reason, they said?
Who?
What was the real reason that the Sphinx nose doesn't exist or is not there? Because they wanted to like erase the identity of what the race could have actually been. Wasn't that the whole?
Was it Ramses? They were trying to disfigure everything with his figure on it. Figurehead.
I think so, something like that. I don't remember. There was a reason behind it.
I was just thinking how much it would suck if you were Helen Keller and then somebody had piss breath.
He's like, please give me COVID-19.
No, dear.
Like, yeah, it would just be, it's like, can you imagine how much stronger that sense is on her?
Oh my god.
Or if she had to have a conversation with Eeyore Bach up close.
Oh god.
She would know what everyone's whole. She would know what everyone's religion was upon meeting them.
She'd
She
know
would
if you're
probably,
on her period.
yep, she would know like a
Like a
puppy
dog.
if you were on your period. Yep. She would know. Helen Keller. That's what I should name my animal.
Helen Keller.
Are you giving it a bad?
If it's a crotch sniffer.
Helen Keller. Sorry. It's how she says hello.
People just look at you like, what the fuck, Helen Keller?
Miss Keller. Miss Keller. It would be funnier if people named their animals these kind of things. Like a little more.
But you have to say that.
Helen Keller and Anne Frank.
Helen Keller.
My pit bulls.
I had a cat named Frederick Douglass.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's cool.
Imagine naming your baby Anne Frank. Oh, this is my baby Anne Frank.
What about if you had a son and you named him like Frank Andrew? Like it, but you knew it was Anne Frank backward. Andrew Frank.
Andrew Frank. Get your
but
butt
you just
over
called
here.
him Anne Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Helen Keller. It makes me irritated some of the shit they tried to teach us in school. That's why I think it's so absurd. Like the same time they force fed me dinosaurs, they force fed me Helen Keller and Amelia Earhart.
Force fed the globe theory.
Force fed the globe. And there was also a thing that everybody says old school globes. They came into the schools in like the 40s or 50s and put the sticker over the globe. So all the globes that they started to make, if you peeled up the sticker where the sphere hole went in, it had the 4 rivers at the North Pole.
Mm. A lot of the old ones did, yeah.
On the Helen Keller topic too, this thing always blew my mind. Same thing with Alexander Graham Bell. His wife was deaf, but Helen Keller was a huge proponent of eugenics and believed that disabled children should be eradicated. They shouldn't be able to be sustained in society. So essentially, Helen Keller didn't want any other Helen Kellers to exist, which is almost the exact antithesis of what she's seen as today. She's seen today as like, oh, look, even if you're born with all of these limitations, you can still be this big. And her entire life she's spent of like, no, don't let this happen to anybody else. And it was the same thing with Alexander Graham Bell, his wife. They founded a school for the deaf and dumb, I think. And it wasn't like a place to nurture and like, you know, standardize it and normalize it. It was basically like you send your kids here to be sterilized and to not reproduce anymore.
And didn't they do that with the Kennedy sister too, the oldest Kennedy?
Rose? Was it Rose?
I think
Kennedy?
Rose.
They gave her a lobotomy.
Project Rose Kennedy.
Then what is it with Kennedys and holes in the brain? That just sucks.
Yeah, really.
Holes and brains.
And worms. That's the other thing that happened this week is RFK Jr. had a vril in his brain. Like he admitted to having a parasite worm in his brain.
The doctors had to pee in it.
Yeah.
That's why I died.
The vril.
Just went in through its eye.
Thule. Yeah, that's
oh yeah, because pissing in the eye gets rid of parasites. That's exactly what happened. You're right, Thomas.
What about if pissing in the eye gives you parasites?
I don't know.
Also fruit, like okay, to Shivan Boo, you have to eat fruit for like 5 days straight, fruit only. So then what you guys were also saying, how certain things would have to be done in the full moon, cutting down certain woods or bamboos or things like that, you don't cut them. You want to cut them in a new moon because any light that's present in it makes all of the parasites or bugs come to the surface. So I wonder if even that kind of stuff, if you really wanted to get rid of something out of your body, you wouldn't use anything to kill it. Maybe you would draw it out. So maybe you would take a piece of fruit and put it in front of your eye during the full moon or in front of your asshole during the full moon and get the worm to crawl out of you.
Well, they have that Trojan method. They say take molasses and baking soda. So the molasses is like the thing that lures
Bait.
the parasite, the bait. But inside of the molasses houses the Trojan horse, which is the baking soda. And the baking soda is harmful to these parasites. So it'll find the molasses, eat the molasses. Inside of it is the baking soda, and they shrivel up and die. So it's like you
That's how I
call
get
them with
rid of
some
ants at
like
my house.
candy for a kid.
So a weird thing is we talked about it a little like last week, if you were to have something like an elderberry, something mildly poisonous, or probably certain kind of mushrooms, certain kind of other funguses or other things for the body, they would kill everything that was surviving in your body except for the main source. That's what they even hope with certain kinds of chemo. Like, we're going to bring you right up to the line of death because your body is way stronger than the cancer. So we're going to radiate you or chemo you or whatever because the cancer can't survive what we're about to do to you, and a human can. Even though it's going to suck, you're going to survive this. But that's what I kind of wonder with certain kinds of these other things, if it's just like take some elderberry so it makes the parasite really weak. Even though it makes you feel kind of shitty, it makes the parasite extra shitty. And then all these other things that you're saying, like baking soda, it's like the molasses is the lure. But let's say you could use molasses, elderberry, and baking soda. So you're weakening yourself a little bit. The molasses lures it out, and then it's eating the baking soda.
Adios.
But this is probably really what was considered earth philosophy back when. The original, before science was science, it was just earth philosophy. And it was just people that would take certain herbs, certain things that were grown, fermented, whatever, and mix them together and be like, I philosophize that this does this to this in nature, and this does this to this animal. Maybe if we use it to a human like this, it would be something that would be good for us. And then we would try it. And then, because we'd philosophize about it first with the ingredients we got from Earth. It wasn't ever, ever, ever meant to be fixed or trusted. It was always meant to be questioned every single day, every time we used it. That's the whole point of it. We're supposed to question it. Every single time we do it, we're experimenting with it. Because every single person is different.
Yeah. Like, she legit, it came out of nowhere, and everyone's like, she legit, she legit, she legit. But it's so rare to even find she legit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought it was a song from MC Hammer.
Yeah,
it's just like those people post conspiracy videos or whatever, and then they're like,
it's this like black goo that comes from like somewhere in the Himalayas, and it's like found under rocks, and it's like herbs, like a bunch of different herbs that have been like, I guess, like decomposed a little bit, and it's like all these minerals
like
of
pressed
that.
and pressed and pressed
Yeah.
and pressed.
Yeah. So it turns into this like black goo, and everybody supposedly takes it. And a lot of what they're taking is not actual real shilajit they're finding, but people are still doing it. And it's a very rare substance. So I don't know how millions of people could be taking shilajit all of a sudden.
I have this theory that it's just like one asshole finds like moldavite, and they're like, if we make one TikTok video and say this will change your life so we can get rid of some of this moldavite on the shelves, that would be fantastic. I feel like somewhere like some Japanese people were like, we have all this core. We're just sitting here. I don't know. We look great for our age because Asian don't raisin. Well, why don't we tell them that we look great for our age because of the coral calcium in the water, and we'll just sell it in pills for a while, crushed up until they catch on. It's like everything. I think someone just is like, we can make this a trend. People will all think this happens.
Yeah.
I mean, this
It's
is
just the right
fluoride.
hustler.
Fluoride is pitched as the thing that's going to save your baby teeth, or like your teeth from getting soft from sugar, but also it just conveniently happens to be a byproduct of the petroleum industry. It's one of the many things that gets created when they do, I think, oil refinement. You get this whole surplus of fluoride. So not only do they not have to find a legitimate way to dispose of this toxic runoff, but they actually make money off of it. They sell it to water treatment plants in exchange for real hard cash, and then almost like it's a beneficial additive. So
even
I don't
like
know. I think that's
petroleum
always
jelly, like
it's
that's
so
cannot be
convenient.
good for your body. It's made out of freaking oil. It's
Well, it works
Isn't that
wonders
what
on the
aspartame
lips.
is? Aspartame is the same way. Isn't that a byproduct of the mining industry?
Is it? I mean, I know
I thought it
that's a
was.
Rumsfeld thing. Rumsfeld is directly tied to aspartame.
I'm pretty sure it's a byproduct of the mining industry, which also has ruined all these towns around Arizona. The town where my dad's family had a ranch, the whole town is dead because of the mines, like that were pumping arsenic into they were blowing it out into the town, and most of the guys that my dad, if they didn't leave town by high school, like you were dead by 40. It was that kind of
It's
thing.
like Wild
And
West rules.
nobody lives there anymore because everybody got cancer and died.
Yeah, there's so many ghost towns like that where it's like, but Chernobyl, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, why did everyone leave Chernobyl?
And Centralia is still on fire or something.
Isn't that why Aaron Brockovich, the movie, came out to talk about that? Like the weird shit that these big companies come in these towns and open these power plants and poison people, the water, the air, the food. They test everywhere. We're not even aware of it.
well,
There's got to be another reason Aaron Brockovich was sold to us. Because Julia Roberts played her and she was too feel good. And here's another weird loop back around. Erica Jane's husband, who is also the attorney for the Nexium cult from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's expensive to be me. If you watch this, you'll know. But Erica Jane's husband also was one of the attorneys that went against Aaron Brockovich for these big corporations. It's like they all attach, but it's just like everything she did was good, but then it just is like, that's a little too Captain Phillips for me. Who is Aaron Brockovich really? What did she really cover up? Did she supposedly get these people money on paper to the media, like the same way the Goldmans beat OJ, but really nothing ever happened, and she was just the movie industry making it all look like something was done while those companies all were continuing to poison us? We were all watching the movies being poisoned with Roundup and Monsanto. And
yeah, but wouldn't that give people the motivation to actually like fight the big, FHRAMA?
No, I think that they're actually did it. I think they were at Home Depot spraying it on their vegetables. I think they actually buy soil that says Miracle Grow Organic. And it's just a name of it. Like that's the name of it, like Sears and Roebuck's. It's just called Miracle Grow Organic. And people are like, I'm putting organic soil on my food. Nope, that's just the name. They've just made it the name.
I just felt like, okay, so like my small town, the year my mom died, there was like 3 other kids at my high school whose parents all died that year from cancer too. It was a small town. Like, so we had like cancer cluster shit going on, but we had the mining, and like I already told you, we had the arsenic in the water. But we also had Fallon Naval Air Station right there, and they had big time cancer clusters. So, like,
did you go to Camp Lejeune? Anyone? If you spent time in Camp Lejeune there and you drank that water, there's a lawsuit out there for you. Okay, go on.
Every military building. I don't know if this is like where you were too, Thomas, but
don't take us down for medical misinformation for Camp Lejeune jokes, please.
Please don't be
robots.
Did every military establishment like have the this building may cause cancer signs all over the place?
This building might cause cancer?
Yeah, like
what state is this?
It was Illinois.
No, I don't remember seeing any of that.
Yeah.
It's called Illinois.
Like for real?
It was
I mean, also
just on the military
It's letting
base.
you know.
It has
Air Force
building
was
materials
known to
that
have
cause
better
cancer, so, like,
conditions.
asbestos and stuff, but it says, like, says this building contains
Coffinoid.
materials that could cause cancer. You're like, "Oh." So they're notifying you, but there ain't shit you can do about it because 'cause you're in the military and you gotta be in that
Well,
building.
yeah, this is the least dangerous thing that you're gonna do in your entire career here is maybe get cancer from being in this building.
Yeah.
Well, everything will give you cancer now. Every electrical device, our microwaves, our air fryers, our
Look at
even
how
our
long.
ovens,
Yeah, they're like, your phone gives you cancer, and everyone's like, okay. And then they're like,
earphones.
okay, your earpods give you cancer, and they're like, okay. People
It's
don't care.
everywhere. Mm-mm.
It is. It is everywhere, but there's so much money to be made off of it. There's so much money to be made.
Like,
And cigarettes, Lee Harvey Oswald of cancer.
yeah, but why do they need to make the money if they work for the government or, whoever runs the government, who we know who has the IRS in its hands? Why do they need to work for it when they could just ask them to print the money for them and just they give it to them secretly?
I don't even
Like,
think it's about money.
so what the
No,
fuck
I think
is it about?
It's
slavery.
how much, it's slavery. How much will you keep doing? And you have all these hands in your
Well,
pockets. You're like for real, this is really the hard thing for people to accept. Slavery had nothing to do with picking cotton. It's the same thing we're fighting against right now. The
Yeah.
abuse of women and children and men. It had nothing to do with picking cotton ever. And so all that's happening right now is different levels of slavery, different levels of sexual abuse, different levels of mental abuse, and we're all under it. We
Yeah.
all have to do it every day. We have the 40-hour work week and pay car insurance, and you own your house, but how many little taxes do you have to pay every year so the bank man doesn't come take it for you? And then you pay, oh, that's for the firefighters and for the, the roads. Really? Because it cost me $1 to fill every pothole on my entire street. But how come it cost you guys a bunch of 10 incompetent dudes to stand around and pay them a
You
salary for
motherfuckers
8
don't
days
ever
and 6?
fill the potholes either.
Like,
What the fuck?
Have
because
you guys ever heard of modern monetary theory, MMT?
no, tell
It's
me.
it's
Sounds like
this
a
there's a documentary that just came out about it called Finding the Money. And everyone that I've talked to that has like been deep into economics on all sides all say it's like this, it's a bunch of bullshit psyop campaign, but it makes so much damn sense. And the premise that they make reminds me of if you guys, anyone out there has ever read Creature from Jekyll Island, that goes into like how debt is used to generate money. It gets real deep, but this MMT Finding the Money documentary, they almost repurpose some of the logic behind this, but the way that they describe it is that the gut, like right now, the common misconception is that if you pay taxes, or if you pay the government for any kind of service, that money goes to the government and now they have money that they can spend on programs or whatever. And that's why it's like the government goes into debt because they have to borrow money in order to buy us all kinds of stuff and fund education and fund disasters. But really, that's not how it works. Like the government can just show up anywhere and be like, you're going to make this for me and we might pay you for it later down the line. Just trust us, you're the government. So like they don't ever actually have to pay anyone money. And what this MMT describes it is that really government debt is the government spending, like printing money, because it's literally what they do is they can just print the money that they need. They don't have to wait for you to pay taxes. They can just go to the print machine and just keep hitting print until they get enough they need. So really what government debt is them printing a bunch of money and then injecting it into the economy. And now that money is the money that we have, and that the whole concept of taxation and inflation and all of this, it's really just deciding who gets access to the resources of the market, because there's like a finite factory out there that makes a certain number of widgets, and like if the government goes in and buys all the widgets, well now people can't buy the widgets, and vice versa. If private industry goes and buys up all the widgets, well now the government can't have it. And it even goes down to like the war bond aspect, that the war bonds was never about help us buy more materials to win this war. The war bond was like, buy this bond that basically says you're going to take your money off the market, so you're not going to be competing with the government for these finite resources, and then in exchange for that, we'll give you this money back with a little bit of interest. But really, it has nothing to do with money. It's just all about who's standing in line to get these resources. And it almost sounds pedantic, but it all boils down to the idea that when we pay our, and this is an MMT thing, but when you pay your taxes, the government just burns that money. They literally just set it on fire and it doesn't exist anymore. It's not like they're stockpiling it and collecting it and spreading it back out into the world when they buy stuff. If a government ever needs to buy something, it just prints the money for it.
Yeah, it's like if they could decide, like where they're like, oh, the interest rates of this, because they already got all the materials here. And now there's a certain amount of material. So the houses have been done. And so it's not, there's only so many people, but they need the market to collapse at a certain point so that they can push everybody. Now they need everyone to fill those houses. Like they almost need, oh, we can't have everyone spending their money on food right now. Let's make food really expensive, but we'll make clothing really cheap right now. Plastic clothing, though. And while we're giving them cheap plastic clothing, we'll slowly take the real cotton and stuff off the market. So it's like they can, because they don't need the money if they really control it, but they can control our appetite for the thing by making it expensive or not.
Right. They don't need the money. They just need you to feel like you can't afford it so that they can get in line and get it before you. That's really the only concept that even works there.
And if for real, this is what I always think about dead energy. I mean, cryptocurrency. If I can get you to believe in a fidget or a widget online that you don't even have to hold in your hand, then it's so much easier for me to play my game. It's the same way as if I can get you to eat artificial meat, then I don't even have to play with these cows and slaughterhouses anymore and employees. I can play with one scientist in a lab that's just cutting and pasting Play-Doh dough and you are eating it. This makes my game so much cheaper. And so that's what I think about the cryptocurrency. Now I don't even have to mint things. I don't have to mess around with shoveling money around the world or metals or shipping things or flying them. I don't even have to do that. You guys believe now, it's just a faith that there is a value in zeros and ones and Qs on your screen, in that if you press return, that value goes to another. And everyone's like, well, that's every money. Nope, we've come to accept it with every money. That's what was the credit card walk-in and everything. And they tried to make us have a change shortage. We're not allowed to touch cash because, ooh, dirty, we might catch something. It's the walk-in to make that slowly. It isn't service for service anymore. And it isn't gold for service anymore. And it isn't a piece of paper for service, because now I'm using a hemp, which we were talking about earlier. It used to be a conductive fabric, so I was using it to conduct my metal, conduct my currency. Now we just believe the same way. Our tippy taps are valuable, and that's the same exact way I feel about when people try to come at me online. That's the amount of energy I have in it. It feels like, but your tippy tap's not valuable to me. It's not a value. It's a tippy tap, and a bank can just tippy tap it over here and tippy tap it over there. So it's not real estate. Like, I need real stuff in my world. So I only think the real stuff is of value. So it has to be conductive metal. It has to be currency. So if your wallet is this, and your wallet needs my conductive metal to run, I guarantee you, no matter what, they're going to have to get my conductive metal out of my hand. So they're going to give me so much of your tic-tac-tappy money to get my conductive metal out of my hand. It'll always be more valuable. That's why the market of the gold and silver is all Dr. Seuss world. That's why they have you believing in Wall Street, and they have you investing like you're a part owner of this company. And every 20 years, they wash away your 401k. You used to have something called a pension. And so where you actually worked, you got it. It didn't matter. Now we all invest in 401k. So we let some 24-year-old dildo that's like, I'm not fucking leaving, play with our money, and they lose it every 20 years.
Pensions are not a thing anymore.
Huh?
Pensions are not a.
You go, Layla.
I wasn't sure who she said to.
Either. Pensions aren't a thing anymore.
Oh, okay.
And if you work for like a certain state job, like if you're a cop or a firefighter or something like this, they still do this thing at the end of their tenure at the job, however much time they have to work, where at the end, if they put in all this time, that's how much they pay them out. So even if they don't work this average, they all will work this 60 hours a week. So when they get paid out, it's so much more money.
Oh, wow.
That's teachers.
Why'd they take that out?
It's when you look at every single thing that they made us turn our lights on for, because nurses and teachers, all these people that they make us put on pedestals over and over, they did it with cops. Any of these people in society, they're doing that because those people in society have lost their weight. We shouldn't respect them anymore. So when the TV's like, you guys, teachers really have the hardest jobs. They work 9 months a year and they get every holiday off and they only have to be there until 2:30.
Well,
wait, I buy my own art supplies.
Well, now it's probably one of the hardest jobs because kids aren't even the same anymore.
It's daycare.
Neither are they. Those teachers are the same kids themselves that came from metal detector schools and went to universities that they paid $120,000 to get a liberal arts degree, and now they're teaching your kid out of a book how great some Dr. Fauci might be.
There's something that like and my mom was a public school teacher, so part of this maybe is ironic, but there's something about somebody that goes to school for however long, 15 years plus, and then says, you know what, I want to spend the rest of my life in this environment. Like that's such a weird mentality to have. They like, I almost feel it's almost like politicians and presidents. The people that should have the job are the ones that want it the least. So like the types of people that we should have teaching are probably the ones that don't want to teach, because to want to teach, it's almost the same egotistical drive of like, we shouldn't have a president that wants to be a president, because it would take a psychopath to think, hey, you know what? You know who should run this country? Me. Like I should be the one that does it.
I'll be the greatest president.
That's why I think I was a good teacher. I didn't want to be a teacher. I was in school for psychology, and my sister kind of like convinced me that I was a teacher. I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want to work with kids, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, every job you've ever had is with kids. Don't tell me you don't want to work with kids. It's like, fuck. So then I listened to her and I thought about it for 3 days, and I switched my major and lost like 2 years worth of credits to switch to education. But yeah, I didn't want to be a teacher. I never ever wanted to pursue that. And then I ended up liking it. I mean, stay for 3 years though. I didn't want to do it for very long. I would never go back.
I have a solution for teacher wages, and it might sound, I'm sure someone's already come up with this, but they should have an OnlyFans, a non-pornographic version, but like an OnlyFans where basically every teacher can live stream their class to the rest of whoever wants to watch it for free, but you can also tip. And now all of a sudden, if you have homeschoolers that actually like a certain teacher's curriculum, or if you just got random people that like what they're doing and they're like, we need more teachers like this, give them a $20 super chat, and you could actually have teachers that are pulling in bank, and that could set the new trend. Like, oh, now all of a sudden, instead of influencers watching other influencer videos and like, oh, that thumbnail gets more clicks or this topic gets more clicks, you could almost have like a subgenre of teachers doing that. Like, oh, this teacher's getting bank because they're teaching in this particular method. And I really think that maybe the market in like a democratic OnlyFans kind of way, right, that could influence and get teachers paid and make them celebrities. Kind of like when people were like, well, how come sports people get paid all this much? Well, that's because they have like the rest of the civilian world and consumers that can back them, that buy the jersey and buy the freaking sports cards and all that stuff. So this could be a way that you could elevate teaching and remove it from the government's hands too, like a complete privatization of teaching.
Unless then the government already thought about this, and they have CIA Neil deGrasse Tysons that are these people that were like, I know every single word out of Neil Big Ass Tyson's mouth, and look how smart I am. And that's kind of the university problem, is that everybody was learning rhetoric, like rhetoricless rhetoric. They were just putting shit in circles to become a brainwashed, and it's in the crypto way. Your education, you invested so much money in it that it hurts your heart to say, holy fuck, I was hoodwinked. I was bamboozled. It hurts your heart because worse than your money, you wasted years of your time validating people and going to classes and doing these things. And then when you look at your shitty job that you don't make anything for, it's not in a career. It has nothing to do with your degree at all. You were lured into the degree because you were told, oh, a person with a degree makes $1 million more a year than their counterpart, or over a lifetime, $1 million. They always put $1 million in front of us because it was like, oh my gosh, one day I'm going to be a millionaire.
And $24 million isn't that big of a.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I'd have to keep working.
So I can get some eggs this week?
Yeah, it was like 4 extra years.
By the time I pay taxes on that shit.
Yeah, that's what you always have to go with, like before or after taxes.
Yeah, before or after.
Before or after the government
survivor
takes
$1 million. You're like, bitch, you gotta pay taxes on that.
There's a loophole. If you like own property in Puerto Rico or something, you don't have to pay like 70% of your taxes there. And I forgot what other country, Panama.
Well, that's what, in the Navy, you always wanted to get your bonuses when you were underway, when you're overseas, because you didn't have to pay taxes. That's the only time you didn't have to. Otherwise, it was like 30%.
Maritime.
Yep.
Isn't that funny? Maritime law, no taxes.
So he lives half a year over there, half a year over here. Like he goes back and forth, owns a restaurant out here. He checks on it on the camera and calls in, like he's there, but not really there, so he knows how to play the game. Smart guy. I'm not saying any names, but you know who you are.
I want to know what states have to pay state tax on top of their income tax.
New Jersey.
Arizona.
Oregon.
I can't. Most of them.
Nevada doesn't.
I can't imagine.
Florida doesn't.
I can't imagine.
It pisses me off.
Texas too. I don't remember having to pay state taxes in Texas.
I did in Oregon. And Oregon, they make you pay income tax, you pay state tax, and then they mail you an envelope that when I was there, it was like, let's say $80 per person in your house that you had to pay for an art tax for the schools, which was also supposed to be all of the slot machines that existed for all the video crackheads all over the state, which I'm like, how is every school system not booming? Because that's how they sold us all this crackhead lottery. Every single crackhead lottery they sold to every state by being like, it's going to be for education. And all the schools just got bum poor. They all of a sudden needed like a principal to come in and sing Lean on Me all of a sudden.
It's kind of like the turnpike in Oklahoma. It's like it was supposed to be temporary to pay for the building of the road, and now it's like they keep hiking up the prices. It's paid for itself a long time ago, and it's privatized, but it's the only road that you can really drive on and not get freaking like flat tires because of how bad the potholes are. So
yeah, same is happening in Canada with the healthcare system. Like hospitals are looking like fucking dungeons and moldy and nasty and creating rooms and bathrooms. It's like some kind of third world like medical system is turned into, and people pay a lot of taxes out there. So for that to even be a thing, do they even have free medical or for all?
That's what I thought is funny too, is how many countries, like they always put the United States when it didn't matter whether we were going to get Obama or Gay Romney. It didn't matter what one we were going to get. We were going to get that healthcare system. We were going to get Obamacare or Romneycare. And if you look into Massachusetts, Romneycare, exactly the same thing we all got way before Obama was ever president. And if you look into old shit that Hillary said, because she was supposed to be the president right after, it was, oh, I just want to get universal healthcare. That is like my biggest thing. It was always universal healthcare. And so university healthcare, it's like they can't dictate what you do unless they can make you think you're sick all the time. It's like the same as car insurance. You're going to get in an accident any second. You're going to get in a catastrophic accident you can't afford. So every month, pay this bill for the catastrophic accident that you may or may not have. And then if you ever do need it, we're going to fight it tooth or nail.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to be on your side at this. We're going to be opposing force. You're going to feel like we're against you the whole time. Oh, flood insurance? Yeah, sorry. We're going to call that wind insurance. Or no, wait. What does my hurricane insurance cover though? Yeah, that covers everything from your house line 666 feet away. That's all that hurricane insurance covers.
Oh, dude, and I've found this one out the hard way, and I won't get too much because this is like very specific to Florida laws. But I had major water damage from one of the hurricanes, and I've got the flood insurance because like I had to when I got the mortgage for the house where I'm at. I had to get all of the things, the wind insurance and hurricane
Wait,
insurance, and
Thomas,
flood insurance. Well, there
you
was
have a
one.
mortgage? You don't
What's that?
live in your mom's basement?
Yeah. Well, my mom made me
I'm
pay
confused.
extra. I like to
Oh,
call it a mortgage, but I just pay her rent.
okay.
But there's this one concept. I think it's called like windblown water damage. But if the rain is blowing at a certain angle and the wind blows the rain into places that normally it wouldn't hit just because of like the
Like in your
trajectory,
faucet.
that type of water damage is not covered under any of those insurance forms, even though it only happens during like hurricane style weather. But if it's the wind that blows the water basically up under vents and that causes damage, that's not covered. So it's wild. There's so many freaking loopholes that now you have to have like wind projected water damage that's different than water damage and different than wind
That's
damage.
crazy.
And when
What
they
did
want
you-
certain properties back, they come in and all of a sudden they make it unaffordable for normies to live there. So let's say you own your house. You pay for everything, you can afford your taxes every year. They make your insurance unaffordable or they won't insure you anymore. And they'll just do it overnight and you're like, "What?" Because the next wealthy tier up that they want to come in and take it, they can afford that insurance. And it just matters or they can afford, we don't care if a storm comes and tears the whole house down. We want it to so we can rebuild.
Well, did you know that with like most fire insurance policies, everyone should check this, that if your house burns down, like you would think that you would just get a payout, right? And that you could buy a new house. But most fire insurances will make you rebuild on the same spot. So you're without a home for a fuck ton of time while you have to build a new house with that money.
That's insane.
This
Yeah.
is true. Yeah, I've seen so many firefighters too. Think of that tax waste of money. Nothing triggers me like
Oh,
seeing the big red
my God.
playtime fire truck come down my street every single time a 911 call and tell me the last 911 call you needed the big red playtime fire truck with 6 fucking guys that were playing pickleball 3 minutes ago.
I was just watching an episode of Live PD, and there was the one in Florida. I think it was in like Lee County, but some guy got so drunk in his apartment complex that he fell down on his face and passed out in between 2 cars. And someone called the cops because they thought that he was like dead or got jumped or something. He literally just got so drunk that he fell down and passed out and was bleeding. And they call the fucking fire truck, and the fire truck guys come out and they're talking to the guy, and it's like, yeah, like how much money are we seeing there? And every time that they say, "Do you need me to call the ambulance?" all I'm thinking is like, "Do you want to spend $30,000 right now?"
Mhm.
Like the fire truck literally does nothing. Think of what a waste of money. Like how often they show us if people are like, "What about New York City?" I'm like, "Well, in New York, if your building catches fire, it's just going to fall into its footprint anyway. You don't have to worry about some tall ladder fire truck, and you don't really want to send your people into the building because there's a good chance it could just all come down." So I'm like, I just see firefighters as a waste of money, and I think that most towns would have an easy volunteer fire department because do you know how many dudes still drive around in volunteer cop cars? They'll be 88 years old still driving around in these cop cars. I think some of these, they're like, let's just give George the power to make people slow down on the road sometimes. And they just hand these volunteer cop cars out to every guy that just, I was a cop once when I was in some town and did whatever. Who cares? And so I'm like, do you know how many of those guys there that you could be like, "Bob, why don't you go volunteer at the fire department? And if the bell goes off in your neighborhood, run down there and grab the hose and squirt it out."
Do you know
I
in
don't
New
know.
York, the governor or the female, what is she, the mayor, the governor, the one that made that stupid remark this week about like computers in the Bronx? What's her name of New York?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, someone in old chat will know. She recently made that remark that kids in the Bronx don't know what a computer even is.
Oh,
Like she
J-Lo?
made like, well, yeah, her too. What she apparently talking about speed limit. She lowered the speed limit in New York City on routes that are like 25 miles per hour to 20 miles an hour. Like that makes no sense in New York City because when you see 25, no one is going 25. You're going 40. Everyone's going 40. Like no one's has time to slow down in New York City. So that's just going to push people to even go faster. Like just because they're pissed off, they're not going to even abide by those rules. Like that was just a stupid
And
little
then it
stunt
goes
she
from a
played.
speeding ticket to a reckless driving ticket
Ridiculous.
because it's like what
20,
over 10 miles an hour is
20
reckless
miles
driving.
an hour. That's
I
like
think they say
fucking
everything from seatbelts to drunk driving to every single law they've ever made. It doesn't curve anything in the grand scheme. Like the further you back away, like we don't have less DUI deaths now than we did. It's just per capita of cars on the road and people. Like
yeah,
it's always just been that. It doesn't make the people that are still going to drink and drive are still going to drink and drive.
yep.
Like the people that are like the seatbelt, your car incessantly telling you to put your seatbelt on. Are
Ugh.
you fucking kidding me?
Just so you're lodged in that car.
Or a
I
car
drive
beeping
a
at
truck.
me because I know I can fit between those cars. I've been driving a very long time, Elon, and the car won't, it gives me a stutter before it lets me over.
Yeah.
Like, car, stop dictating, you little Hitler.
Well, little ding for your seatbelt. Like in our old Toyota, my husband knew exactly how many times it would beep before it would shut off, and he goes, "That's Japan's way of getting back at us for World War II." He's like,
Oh, the annoying ding, ding.
And all of our
you can blame
mockingbirds.
Ralph Nader for a lot of this too. He's the one that
Yeah.
made seatbelts mandatory in cars.
So, I
Ralph
mean,
"Fuck you,
Nader.
Ralph Nader," or whatever
Yeah,
your name
fuck you,
is.
Ralph Nader.
Yeah,
like in
fuck you,
certain
Ralph. You
accidents,
messed
they
up our
make
IRS.
sense. But in certain accidents, they don't make sense.
Well, I just feel like the same thing I feel like with most things. It's a personal thing. Like, do you think less kids, like for real, do you think less kids are hurt on this plastic playground equipment than on the guillotines that we grew up on?
No, it's the same
I
shit.
think no, it's the same. You get so many splinters, weird plastic shit just melting in the sun. I've
Yeah.
seen actual, we were just talking about cops. My favorite shit is that one cop that goes down that slide so fast on duty. He goes down like he thinks he's gonna be so slick, like just go down this child slide, but he shoots down like a bullet and slides right into the mulch. Like
Lands right on the neck of some kid.
Oh my god.
You know what though? I have to big up paramedics deserve the big up over the firefighters. There are people that do actual jobs in society.
Oh yeah.
Paramedics deserve the big up. They're the ones that are saving all the lives. They're the
Yeah.
ones that are seeing all the shit.
Well, this is one of the
Yeah.
reasons that you see a fire truck when someone calls 911, though, I think is because they usually have one firefighter that's trained as a paramedic on staff. And that's usually what that fire truck's doing there on all those calls is for the paramedic trained guy to be there.
Here's the real. All of the grandfathered in fat people that run your town, all are firefighters that are sitting around doing nothing and playing pickleball all day. Why all the people that want to be firefighters now all have to go to school to be a firefighter and a paramedic because they realized, what are firefighters doing? So now in a lot of towns that are worth their salt, they realize they don't need somebody that isn't a paramedic to be a firefighter. So the only people that aren't paramedics are grandfathered in, and they aren't talented and they aren't skilled, and they're sitting there walking up like, you need the jaws of life on this? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hose. Oh, the lady over there already has her garden hose. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this to the paramedics. They don't do anything, but they're the ones that are working 60 hours a week.
My
to
town
make
just
sure that they have their
changed
pension.
that. They all had to do paramedic training, every single one of them.
Yeah, what if that was the default? What if instead of having to take economics or social studies in school, everyone has to take like paramedics?
That would be wonderful.
Would there, like, what's the downside of that? What would be the downside of making sure that every high school graduate has been through a paramedics course,
The
and now all of
fucking
a sudden,
trauma, because you do have to do practicals and stuff like
Or
that. You do have
EMT. What about just EMT? Emergency medical training, which is really like a CNA on the road.
I mean, the trauma almost seems like it would be a good thing though, because if you are confronted with that type of trauma in a controlled environment where you can repeat it over and over again, then when you encounter that trauma in real life, you might actually have a chance of thinking a little bit more critically and not getting swept up in the moment, especially if you've got some sort of like basis for reference.
Yeah, you wouldn't in the fight or flight. You wouldn't be fighting. You'd be fighting.
Let's just say we were gonna do the country a
Or if
little
you're Kevin
different.
Spacey, you'd be jerking off.
Or Helen Keller, you'd just be like, "Who's jerking off in here?" I
smell
can't
it.
hear it, but I can smell
I can
it.
smell it.
But it would sound like this: "Who's jerking off in here?" I'm guessing. I'm guessing it would sound like that. I wasn't making fun of retarded people when I did that. I was making fun of Helen Keller. Don't
No,
at
you have
me.
to. You have to do it in the hand.
You're not allowed to say retard. You're
I
not
was
allowed
just
to
gonna
say
say that. That's
retard.
such an offensive word,
I know.
Chaney.
I like when something's so tarded, you had to retard it.
I love using that word.
Like I'm like,
People are
"Ooh!"
so
Would that be
sensitive.
post-tarded?
I'm like, that's so tarded, or you have to retard it. You have to tard squared. What about if you just had tard squared? That meant retard.
I got
That's an
told I was
interesting
immature
word.
for saying stuff was gay.
How dare we?
I was like, oh wow.
How
Someone said,
dare?
"Wow, Abby, you're so immature.
Yeah, I'm immature.
You're so immature."
You're so mature.
And it was like a 13-year-old who said that to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're so
Even.
immature for calling that gay. I feel like you should be able to call things gay that are obviously gay.
Yeah.
I like to preface it with saying 90s gay. Like, oh, that's so 90s gay.
That's good.
Was that closeted mostly?
90s gay? Like,
Well,
what,
yeah, 'cause-
what
'cause-
brand is
because-
90s gay?
90s
Because
gay.
we could talk 80s gay too, or 70s
well,
gay.
well, it was like it specifically meant lame and not like
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
saying lame,
Yeah.
right? Lame could be offensive. It's like
It
I have a
could
lame
be.
leg. What,
Yeah.
you're making fun of me because no, it was just a phrase. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just a
90s
phrase
gay.
in the 90s.
Mhm.
Phrase in the, what about
That's
if you take
not
something
gay.
that's
That's what we used to
scary,
say.
like you're such a fag-alish.
Mm.
Like you take a normal scary word and you just put a lish at
Lish.
the end of it. I like calling people a little fag-alish.
Fagalicious.
Yeah, they're a little fagalicious. And fag
Oh,
seems like I
gosh.
hear people in rooms on X sometimes and they're like, and somebody said a hard F. And I'm like, oh
What?
my, what world
Hard
are we
F?
in?
Wait, which F?
Oh my
Fag.
god.
Yeah, tell
Somebody
me,
said
be creative
faggot.
with it. I mean, yeah.
I know. And I
Be
actually
creative
think it's
with
so
it.
clever. A bundle of sticks. That is so clever. And then like a stick, a fag, like smoking a cigarette. I'm like, of course, a bundle of dicks. Fag.
I always
Like
thought that was
the
great.
first guy that walked up on it and said that word, look at these faggots. What? And somebody was like, what do you, a bundle of sticks? Fred, this makes no. And then they were like, this is brilliant.
Oh, look at you sucking on the butt of a fag, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is where emojis actually start to like be interesting because I've seen when people want to call someone else gay or like a fag online, they'll just
They do this
post
one?
a bunch of the cigarettes. They'll do a bunch of cigarettes.
Cigarettes?
And if you
Right.
don't know what you're looking at, you're just like, oh, what, cigarette break? But no, they're calling you a fag. They're calling you like a mega fag with a bunch of cigarettes.
Fagalish. I think this is the gayest emoji, the one with the smiley face and then human hands. Like the hands don't
know,
fit
I
the
don't
like
smiley
that.
face, and I
No.
hate
Jazz
them.
hands?
I hate
Yeah,
that
well,
one too.
they're just little
Is that what it
small
means?
hands. I don't know. It's the
They're the
faggiest. I'm
wrong
like,
color.
if something's gay, and I'm like, that is so gay. I just said hands with the face. I just picture like the guy on the center of Hollywood Square is like, I'm so gay, but I have rasp in my voice.
Oh, yeah, Harvey Firestein.
Harvey
Is that
Firestein,
his
not be
name?
Arthur. I'm not be Arthur.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they've become old Jewish women, like, and these are old men.
I
But
think
people
it just
don't have
happens. All of my
identity
New
issues.
Yorker friends, when I think they hit like 30 and they start speaking mild Yiddish, and then by 40, you hear phrases out of your friends that you're like,
What the fuck?
where they're like, you have schmutz on your face. They're like, what? You got schmutz on your face. Or they'll be like a
Took us-
gabagool. Or, yeah, like
Mhm.
things are, or even that one, mudge pudge.
Schmuck.
Schmuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all those Yiddish words that I'm like, I don't know what kind of spell it is, but it seems harsher than most.
Well, gabagool is Italian, isn't it?
Yeah, all the Mediterranean. This is what I keep telling Layla. There's something about the Mediterranean that whatever happened to these people, maybe it was fighting with each other, but even the ladies that look like little old ladies, 100 years old, and if you get them on the wrong side, they have all these Yiddish words you never heard, and they'll start slapping them to their chin. They'll flick their teeth at you. They'll like pop their eyeballs out. Yeah.
Pop their eyeballs out.
They don't play.
Pijimush.
They turn into some old Muppet from Labyrinth where they pull their eyeball.
If you really
Oh
think
my
about
God.
it, for real, all the shit in MMA that's illegal, when you just did that, that would be illegal in MMA, but think of how powerful that would be. Kicking the balls, illegal in MMA, how powerful it would be. Pulling someone's hair, illegal in MMA, but how powerful it would be. I
Anything
think
that
it-
happened in a Three Stooges.
Yes.
So it's like just did bags.
Yes, I think I wish it was my fighting style. Like, yeah, and fighting in the blue corner with a Larry Curly Moe fighting style, but everything I did would be illegal. I would get in, like, I would have to take the person out, or I'd get suspended, or
Gouge the eyeballs.
yeah, and then woo, woo, woo. But this would be an easy defense for it, but only if your hands were big enough, because then it would be like my finger spread would be measured on our lineup, so it would be like Chaney can get 3.5 inches down on one side. So if your hand was small, like, you better put it in the right spot. But then rock paper scissors. If you do this, rock.
You could start severing the web between your fingers, so you could get like a couple
Glasses.
extra
Further.
inches. Yeah,
They wouldn't
Glasses.
see.
Easy defense.
Before we head out, Abby, you asked anyone if they had any questions that they wanted us to talk about tonight.
Well, yeah, we just got two. Somebody said they wanted us to tell ghost stories, and then, which maybe we'll have to do that next week. And then somebody else said they wanted us to talk about pressure.
Like
Could you do
pressure.
this like the Three Stooges? The sound
Like
at the bottom of the screen right now.
I forgot. Yeah, there you go.
It's like Gordy.
No, you need Gordy. You could do it. What about this one? Can you do this one?
I don't know. I'm starting to lose it there now.
I know. At the
thought I
end,
had
it turned into a little bit witchy,
Well,
but
I don't know.
why
It's
I
all right.
ought to.
I'm okay with it.
Ghost stories we maybe have to save and do a whole ghost night or something.
Yeah, we'll do campfire.
We could do
Pressure.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And tell
I
like
need to
scary
get around to
stories that you heard of as a child. I have some corny ones.
I don't know if I have too many. I think I only know one ghost story, and it's not that scary. When you look back at it, you're like, ugh, I can't believe that killed time. Like, we were sitting around a fire and somebody took over when we were a kid, and we were like, like just hanging on every word of the story. I'm like, gosh, I wonder if that took like 5 minutes to tell. But I felt like we were watching it like for an hour.
I'm on the first floor.
I got true Ouija board stories, but I've never told them before. I don't know if I have or not. So those are kind of scary.
What about a paranoid American Ouija board?
I will
I'm
never touch a
interested.
Ouija board.
I would almost start with like a planchette, and then like a planchette that you could turn anything into a Ouija board.
What about if you called your Ouija board Ouija like squeegee? And it just you put a little water in it.
Oh my god, that's a whole other fucking
Ouija board.
magic.
Yeah, like came up like a frisbee on the edge.
Oh,
So it was like a Ouija board, and then it had a little squeegee underneath, so it slid like this. You all had your eyes shut,
And
and
it cleared the letter.
that's how you know it was clean.
Water magic.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else?
Is there a weed G board?
Ooh, now you're talking. When Summer comes and hangs out again, she's like setting up her studio and stuff. She's gonna have a whole ganja background. She's just gonna get a bunch of Jamaican Thai sticks and put them all on a wall.
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
like, that's the best. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Summer, I want to help you. And so it's gonna be Summer's podcast.
Love it.
Good for her.
You'll call in. How weird do you want to get?
You can get real weird with Summer. I love getting weird with her sometimes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Donut. What up, Donut?
What up, Donut?
Yo, it's Donut.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Does anyone have anything else before we...
Oh, did any chance you have the Acoustic Kitty cartoon that we could premiere?
I do have it. Hold on. It'll just take me a second, though.
So there's a new cartoon series that's a
I love
collaboration between me and Late Night Cartoons. And if you like this, please go to latenightcartoons.com and just go and follow on YouTube and Twitter and all the places. But I just really want to get this project hyped so that we can have like a bunch of these, because ideally we get like 20, 30, 50 of these little shorts.
Nice.
And if you like that little JFK one at the beginning, or if you didn't see it, go back and watch it after we're done. But we've got another one, Acoustic Kitty, and we've got a whole list of another ones that we're coming up with.
I like it. They almost remind me of the Saturday Night Live where it was like Mini Funhouse, ding ding, where it would be different cartoons every time. That's where they had the ambiguously gay duo.
Yep, exactly.
And Liquid Television is
the
the other influence here.
Or Seth Green, to bring up Isaac Cappy again. Robot Chicken was like a similar. It's uploading right now, so then we'll have it too for next week.
And this is a true one that a lot of people, the first time they hear it, it sounds like it's all made up, but it's 100% accurate. And I'll let the cartoon speak for itself first, and we can talk about it if we got time.
This is when we're talking about esoteric stuff. Let me see. It's this one. It's this. It's about to get wet and sticky. What up, Donut? But it says it's about to get wet and sticky in philosophy and esoterica. This is how I'm killing time while an upload's happening.
You should
But
change it
it's
to
almost
moist
done.
sticky.
Moist. Are you ready to get moist? Are you ready? Ew. You know what? A gross word too that I just think is gross. Candida.
Candida?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so gross. I know a girl who her mother had the audacity to name her Candida.
Oh.
Her daughter
Terrible.
Yeah.
named her after
she's the
sickening
only
sickness.
person. She was a person. She's a lesbian. She came to me and she's like, "Hey, I want you to start calling me this now." And my next question back was, "Are you transitioning?" And she's like, "No, I just fucking hate my name." And I was like, "Fair enough."
Okay, that I get.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go out with the kitty. And does anyone have anything else they have going on this week?
I'm available.
Gordy's available if you guys need him. We love you guys. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out on both channels, Rumble, X, or wherever it is that you found us. Make sure you go and find us everywhere else because you know we're bound to get in trouble soon. So we love you, and we will see you.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Ooh, maybe Sunday, but I might not be here. So
I thought you would.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you weren't going to be.
I know we didn't have a Sunday when I planned this. I forgot about Sunday until just this moment. I was like, I'll be back on Friday. It's fine. But so maybe Sunday.
Sunday's
off,
Mother's
you
Day.
guys wanna...
Just a reminder for everybody.
Oh, maybe you mothers should take a day off. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I'm not going to show up. I feel so irresponsible. I'm going to make them turn this ship around.
I need a day off.
Perfect. It's all working out
That's probably good.
perfectly. Yeah, look at that. You manifested it.
Love it.
All right, you guys, for real, we love you, and I hope you enjoy this cartoon from Paranoid American.
Bye.
When the CIA wasn't busy implanting devices in humans, bulls, and donkeys, they also experimented on common house cats. Project Acoustic Kitty was developed in the 1960s with a budget of $20 million, with the aim of implanting microphones and radio transmitters into the heads of felines as surveillance devices. Rumor has it that the project was scrapped after a prototype was run over by a taxi cab. Although, who knows how many surveillance cats are out in the wild right now? How well do you know your cat?
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Constantly explore the view of possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, bigger mistakes, entertaining, calling linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, weirdos, mischief making, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Beautiful bunnies. Hi. Okay, of course she's starving for the most attention because she's the youngest. Give me attention, please. Now, Sarah, you're very stuck up. And you're too cool for school, I get it. Jesus Christ, be nice. Girls, be nice. No fighting.
Mommy, I got my pasty. Please run to me and let me see. Oh, she's a bunny, y'all. She's a bunny this morning.